Turn your preparation into a cornerstone for reaching the top of the civil services selection list. Get ready for the final personality test with the Vision IS Personality Development Program for the UPSC Civil Services Examination 2024. The program offers in-depth depth analysis sessions with senior experts and faculty members, realistic mock interviews with ex-bureaucrats and educationists, interactive sessions with toppers and serving bureaucrats, personalized performance evaluation and feedback. At Vision IS, we prepare you to excel in areas like communication, current affairs, critical thinking and more, essential for the UPSC CSE final interview. The UPSC CSE arena is an ever-evolving space where staying up to date becomes as crucial as maintaining a thorough preparation. With strategic planning and holistic coverage for exam syllabus, Vision IS Delhi presents GS Foundation course. Avail analysis and integration of current affairs with GS syllabus. All India test series with an innovative assessment system, inculcating post-test analysis, discussion, all India ranking, and more. Explore the holistic learning modules intrinsically designed for the ideal aspirant.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, any of you have given this time? Means? Okay. So, how was it? It was one? Fine. You were able to complete the paper? Okay, good. So, is this your first mains? Third mains? Very good. So how was the experience in the earlier ones? Last year? Okay. So this year you are confident? Okay. So what are the first impressions? Paper level difficulty, easy, medium, easy to medium. What about map locations? Fine, you are able to answer? Okay, good. So this special session is mainly focused on to analyze this year's geography option on paper and try to assess how exactly it is different from the earlier or same as compared to the earlier years, and particularly for those who are going to appear for next year. Okay, so how differently they have to prepare, and any changes is it required in their approach, or those who are freshly preparing completely, what exactly should be the approach. Okay, so these things is the main idea of this session. So I'll be discussing the paper 2 part, the paper 2 Indian geography. So let me just give you a brief idea. First of all, geography is a subject. I have to tell you, compared to other optionals, what is usually the talk of the town. Okay, so in Rajendra Nagar, Karol Bagh, So it is always said that geography is a lengthy subject. So lengthy subject, it is difficult to cover the areas, difficult to complete the paper, and compared to other optionals which can be easily done, quickly done. Okay, so these are the things, talk of the town. At one point of time, geography was chosen highest by aspirants. Okay, if you go back in time, so let's say 10 years ago, okay, so that was the most commonly chosen optional. And that too, you won't believe, I have seen people in front of my eyes selecting geography optional after the result of prelims. Okay, because earlier, so you were not expected to fill the optional subject in the prelims level itself. Okay, they were not asking for the optional paper, what is your optional, so you have to fill it now in the prelims time only, right? So that time, after the result, the mains application they will call, detailed application form, then you will fill it. I've seen people choosing geography optional after their result, preparing in the month of 2 months and clearing, because the pattern was so predictable, and the questions were also like 60 mark one question. Okay, so one complete question 60 mark. Now it is 50 mark. That time it was 60 mark because that time it was 300 marks per paper. You have to write 50 into 5, right? That time 60 into 5. Fine. And one question totally 60 mark. There used to be like out of 5 questions you would have gotten like 360 marker. Okay, so on 2 20 20 20 each, like that. It was a cakewalk preparing geography. And even in terms of the depth of understanding also, it is very direct questions, directly taken from the syllabus, so made it as a question. And GS geography used to cover like 50-60% of geography optional also. That is why it was one of the most commonly chosen. And then 2-3 years consecutively UPSC targeted it. Okay, so even though we say that UPSC will never specifically target any optional, but it actually happened. Like if you know 2012 paper, 2013 paper, 2011 was also at least comparatively fine. 12 was like total butchering. Okay, so people who were targeting out of 300. Okay, so a good score used to be 150. People have got 25, 35. So it has happened. To some extent, that was one of the discouragement for people to like shift to other options gradually. But comparatively in the last, overall pattern has changed. The way of asking question itself has changed. That is not only for geography, for every option it has changed. Okay, so after the syllabus change in 2013, so they reduced it to 250 marks each, and the number of questions have increased. So now in each paper you have to write 26 in paper 2, 28 in paper 1. 26 questions in paper 2, 28 questions in paper 1. 26 plus 10 map locations in paper 2, right? That becomes a very, very challenging task. Fine. And it is not specifically for geography. In few of the optional I have seen, so they have asked 15 mark and then 10 markers. Okay, so 50 mark is divided into, at least here we have 3 each, right? So there are 4. So 15 plus 15 plus 10 plus 10, like this. Okay, there is this kind of division also. So comparatively we are better in that case. Fine. So coming back to the subject, I was having a general discussion on what is the talk of the town in about the geography optional. So it is a general opinion that it is lengthy, takes time to prepare and takes time to write. But if you ask the opinion of the people who have actually done this with some practice, it is not that difficult. Okay, so and talking about the area of coverage, trust me, overall area of coverage is wider, but it is not very deep everywhere. You know the subject, you know the concepts, you can write. It is not expected that you write in very detailed manner in each and every answer out of for all the 28 questions. It is practically not possible. Okay, so sorry. So you don't have to write 28 questions. The questions given, in that you have to choose and write. Fine. So what is the exact number of questions you have to write? So 5 plus 5, 10, and then 3 plus 3 plus 3. Okay, so total 19 questions you have to attempt, right? So even in that also, attempting 19 questions, it's not an easy task and you are not expected to write everything in every answer. The idea is, first basic idea is always to complete the paper. You need to, target is to complete the paper, you should not leave any question. If you think that there is a question where 3 out of 3 sub questions, you know only 2 and the third one you don't know, you have no idea at all, the other 2 you know very well. And there is another question where all the 3 questions you know to some extent some average. You're not very confident, but still you can write only average answer. I prefer go with the second option. Writing all the question is always better than writing few good questions. Okay, so because according to you, you have written very well, so it is good, but according to UPSC, it is not. Still, you may end up getting average marks only in that also. So why to take risk? Complete the paper. First priority. Fine. Second, if you see paper 2 also, so it appears very, very general. You give this paper to any general studies student, even he will try to answer. He can answer this. Who has studied geography to some extent, geography and current affairs. So what makes your answer different from theirs? So trying to bring some technicalities from paper 1, particularly human geography into it. You bring human geography aspect, okay, so theories, models, thinkers, perspectives. So that makes the answer a little bit more technical. And discuss in more detail the examples and case studies, which you would have studied in detail than compared to your general studies. Okay, so a student from general studies. Fine. So for those who are new to this paper, who just started to prepare, let me give you a broad idea of our geography paper. This is our geography paper 1, paper 2, and the units in paper 1, paper 2. In paper 1, we have 10 units. In paper 2, we have 10 units. Paper 1, there is a very clear division between the physical geography and human geography. Paper 2, even though the topics are divided, but the questions are all intermixed. Okay, so I'll show. There is nothing like agriculture is given in the third unit and it is asked only in the part A. There's nothing like that. Physical setting is also asked in part B. Okay, so settlement, cultural setting is also asked in part A. Everything is mixed. But here, to some extent, there is a clear division. Part A is usually physical geography. Part B is usually human geography. Once in a while, you will find few questions here and few questions here. But there is at least some division. But there is no such division. Fine. So this is paper 1. Paper 1 covers the physical geography. You must be aware that geomorphology, climatology, oceanography, biogeography, and environmental geography. And then perspectives, economic geography, population settlement, regional planning, and models and theories. This part will be discussed detailedly in another session, paper 1. Okay, my focus is on paper 2. In paper 2, how many chapters, how many units are there? Total of 10. So number 1 is physical setting. Okay, so this unit is mainly about the physical features of India. Okay, the physical features, drainage system, the climatic conditions, soil conditions, all of these aspects. Fine, that is physical setting of India, the background. Number 2 is resources, all the type of resources. Okay, so in GS we study only limited resources, but here you have to include every type of, even the wildlife is also resource. This time question on vulture was from resources unit. Okay, so natural vegetation, wildlife, mineral resource, energy resource, water resource, every type of resource, land resource, soil resource, every type of resource you can think of, everything comes under here. And in the syllabus, very brief description is given. There is no detailed discussion here. You have to make the subtopics based on the previous analysis, previous year's questions. The third one is agriculture. The topic of agriculture, and earlier it was very, very traditional. Now it has become more, application and current oriented agriculture. Okay, every aspect of agriculture, cropping pattern, cropping intensity, and the modern methods of agriculture, green revolution. So everything, technology, infrastructure, and the role of institutional factors, जो इस बार question आया था. So that is agriculture. Industry, every type of industry. Okay, agro-based industry, mineral-based industry, and rural areas, industrial development, industrial policy. Fine. So the topic goes in much detailed manner. That is industry. This year there was a question on industry in paper 1. Okay, so on industry it was asked in paper 1. So don't think it is from paper 2. There is economic geography here also. But in paper 2 there was no question on industry directly, but tourism is also considered to be industry. So there is one question. Industrial waste, there was a question that I have put in contemporary issues. Fine. So that is industry. Fifth one is transportation, communication and trade. So here the overall unit is about the different modes of transportation, and the communication includes the satellite communication, satellite navigation, all of this, and trade policy, import, exports. Fine, all of this. The cultural setting is about the population of India, the cultural background. The question on races was from this part, cultural setting. And then settlement, the different types of settlements, the development of settlement, the question on conurbation was from here. Okay, so we'll see that. So different ways of, so different factors affecting settlements in India. And eighth one is regional planning and development. Again, one of the very important and contemporary area where current related questions are asked. Political aspect is related to the geopolitics of within India, outside India both, and then contemporary issues. Total 10 units. Okay, first please remember this completely, the order as it is. This is very much important to analyze. Okay, those who are freshly preparing for option, you should be very, very thorough about this. And these are the topics of this paper 2. Okay, so you can see this is as it is I have taken from the syllabus, the 10 units of paper 2. Physical setting, resources, agriculture, industry, transport, communication and trade. Then cultural setting, settlement, urban, regional development and planning, political aspects, contemporary issues. Fine. Out of these 10 units, if you see the last 4 years before the present years, this is how the questions have come. In the last 4 years, so we have 104 question. In each paper, there's 26 questions I told you. Okay, so I have removed the mapping part, you remove it. There are 26 questions in each paper. 26 into 4 is 104. Approximately you will get an idea, approximately if it is 100 questions. You can see almost every unit covers some question at least. It is there for sure. Okay, there is nothing like few units are very, very less, you can ignore them. Okay, so isko chhod dete hai, to isse zyada marks questions nahi aa rahe, aise kuch nahi hai. You have to read all the 10 units in paper 2. In that, the most important ones, the physical setting, resources, agriculture, settlements, and contemporary issues. Contemporary issues is something which is there for every unit. You can link in every unit. So contemporary issues, of course, which is very, very important, particularly for Indian geography. Fine. Other than this, physical setting, resources, agriculture and settlements are very important area, and based on this year's trend, regional development and planning is something which has increased the overall weightage. Fine, and that too not in a traditional manner. It is not expected that you go back to 5-year plans and study the regional development methods. It's not required. This is totally current related. Fine. So basically every unit you have to study. Out of these, there are 3 types of questions you can see. Okay, so I'm still giving you the PYQ based on the earlier trend how it was. Okay, so earlier trend I showed you the almost equal distribution of weightage with more emphasis on physical setting, resources, agriculture and settlements. These are the areas which were given high focus. And the type of questions asked till now are of 3 types. 3 types of questions are usually asked. One is totally, static and conceptual type. For example, this was a question in 2022. You can say critically examine the factors affecting the unpredictability of southwest monsoon system in India. 2022 question. Is it static? Yes, of course. When you study monsoon, you will understand. Okay, monsoon itself is a mechanism you will study in more detail. So where you will have to bring the connection with all the different factors and different other concepts interlinking. However, this, if you are studying the topic of monsoon itself, there only you will study it in an interlinked manner. When you study monsoon, you will have to study how it is related to the jet streams. Okay, how jet streams influence the monsoon, how the how the global level changes like El Nino, La Nina will influence the monsoon, how Indian Ocean dipole, Magellan-Julian oscillations will influence the monsoon, how the surrounding topography like Tibetan plateau will influence, Himalayas will influence. All of these things you have to see. So these are the factors which brings unpredictability, right? That is what you have to discuss. This is a totally static and conceptual part. You read the textbook, you read Khullar or Majid Hussain, you will get it. Fine. Explain the impact of tropical cyclones and western disturbance on the climate of India. Very simple and direct question. Second type of question you see. So this is little bit challenging. How do physiography and climate of India explain the biological diversity of country? Here you will not find any of this in any of the textbook as it is. You would have studied about physiography, you would have studied about climate of India, as well as to some extent about the biodiversity of India. Now you have to bring all of them together and make an answer then and there. This is what is application based and interlinking is required. These type of questions are there. Okay, so another example, discuss the role of watershed management for soil and water conservation in hilly regions of India. Okay, if you would have had a basic idea of what is watershed management, what is watershed, now you have to discuss in the context of soil and water conservation, specifically for hilly areas. Is that right? Interlinking. Third is totally related to current affairs. So for example, in 2020 there was this bill. So therefore a question came directly on bill, Essential Commodities Amendment Bill 2020, direct question on that. And Delhi NCR pollution, so every year it is in news, a question came directly. Why has the extreme particulate pollution remained festering issue in Delhi NCR 2022, direct question. So three type of questions you can identify. So one is static and conceptual type, second one is application based and interlinking is required, third one is current affairs based. This is a normal trend. In that, in paper 2, maximum number of questions used to come from second. Because in physical setting you will get static and conceptual. Physical setting is the only area where you get this direct questions. Otherwise in agriculture, resources, industries, transportation, okay, so political aspects, everything is either application based where interlinking is required or current affairs based. There is not much of static part. Of course there is static part, but the questions are not going to be directly static part. That used to be the time when I told you, okay, people used to prepare for 2 months. Maximum number of questions were static and conceptual part. Is it clear? That is how the trend is. Last 6-7 years, the trend is more focus on these areas only. Very less focus on the static and conceptual. So now let's see this year's questions. We will get an idea. So whether is there any change in the trend or not. So this is question paper as it is. I have given in the same order. Okay, so we know that there are a total of 8 questions. In that, question number 1 and question number 5 are compulsory. Out of 2, 3, 4 and 6, 7, 8, you have to choose 3. Picking the question becomes a very crucial aspect here. You go to any paper for that matter, picking the question, what question is you are choosing, that becomes very important for deciding the entire scoring. Okay, these are the questions. I have put them in their respective sections here. Fine. So just let's do a rough glancing. Okay, it will be easier for us to analyze things better. See, this session is more about analysis, not about answers as such. Okay, so more about analysis to decode the paper and to see in which area there is more focus and what exactly we have to do. I'll give some understanding of the broad approach. Fine. Discuss the basis of various explanations for the formation of Shivaliks. This is the topic related to formation of Himalayas. Comes under the topic of physical setting. Fine. Conservation and breeding centers are important components of action plan for vulture conservation. Vulture conservation 2025. This is a program. It's a program on that directly the question has been asked. I put it under part of resources because you will have to study this as part of natural vegetation and wildlife resources. Fine. You can put it in contemporary issues. But the problem is it becomes difficult to study this in a targeted manner in contemporary issues. You cannot say every current affairs is contemporary issues. You need to link it with the the syllabus, that is very important. You can link it here. Here you can target. So if you see previous 1 or 2 years before, there was a question on Project Tiger. Fine. So like that, there the questions are expected. You can target and study. Northeastern states of India are geopolitically sensitive and strategically significant. A direct question on geopolitics, that is political aspect. Fine. Institutional factors are playing a dominant role in controlling the agriculture prosperity in India, justify with evidence. Institutional factors. Okay, agriculture. One of the most important component of agriculture, the part of agriculture study is institutional factors you have to study. Okay, so these were the compulsory. Till here it was compulsory. You had to discuss this. Fine. And a quick observation, if you can see, political aspect is usually asked in the part 2. It has been made as compulsory, that too in part 1, part A. Okay, so that is a very clear indication that there is no separation between the part A, part B in paper 2. Everything can be mixed up. Okay, so you cannot target earlier again, that is why people used to find it very little bit easy to prepare geography. There used to be exact division. First question is always geomorphology, second question is always climatology, third question is always oceanography, like that. You see the paper 1, in question number 2, A is geomorphology, B is climatology, C is biogeography. Okay, 3A again climatology, oceanography, environmental geography. You cannot skip any section at all. You have to prepare everything thoroughly. Fine. Now, the Indian Space Policy 2023 supports commercial presence in space. In what ways will it benefit socio-economic development and security in India? The Space Policy 2023, direct question. Okay, this is related to communication, transportation and trade, because communication we have earlier also we have had good number of questions on the space, the communication. Discuss the process of formation of conurbations in India and describe their problem. What is this conurbation? Okay, so types of settlements, large scale settlements, they are called as conurbations. This is question number 2. Regional development and planning, we have this question. India has a wide ranging regional disparities in economic development. Explain the patterns, implications and challenges. Okay, a direct question on regional development. Discuss the variations in nature of glaciers in India and emerging issues due to climate change. Fine. Contemporary issues, I have put it in contemporary issues because you will not study this as part of physical setting. Okay, so glacier melting, climate change, global warming, you can target that particular area as part of contemporary issue, you can study that. Okay, so regional disparities in economic development, glaciers ke upar ek question hai. Third one is, domestic tourism in India has immense local resource potential, discuss the reasons and its various implications, the various dimensions. Tourism. That was question number 3. Question number 4. Migration is the reflection of regional disparities. Statement. Okay, so what socio-economic and demographic consequences are experienced at the place of origin and destination? Fine. The topic is directly on migration. Fine. It's part of cultural setting, population cultural setting. In spite of various tribal area development programs in India, tribal areas still lag behind. Discuss critically with example. Tribal area development is basically regional development and planning. Water scarcity is an important cause of disputes and conflicts in India. Suggest innovative methods for location-based solution. Water scarcity. Whether it is GS or optional, always there will be one question on water scarcity. Water resources. That is always there. Fine. Now, so now you see this. Here you don't have any option. You have to write. You have three questions here. In that you have to choose at least one. Which one would be that? Which one would be the more scoring? Of course, it's personal, but in a general sense, आपने कौन सा लिखा है? Second? Fine. Yeah. So that is a good selection because there is good scoring here. And otherwise, even in other areas also, you can score well if at all you had thorough preparation. Okay, institutional factors is one thing which was little bit static and studied as part of agriculture. Everyone would have studied it. Conurbation is also something which is conceptual part. So if at all you had studied, prepared for settlement. So Indian space policy, they are not asking about Indian space policy actually. They are just talking about the commercial presence in space and in what ways it will benefit socio-economic development and security. Little bit of general, you can write this. This is going to be a good choice. Okay, so if at all you have chosen this. In these also you can write. In fact, if you write well, if you had prepared well, there are higher scope of scoring in these because they are more current oriented, but this is more safe. Fine. Fine. So let's move ahead. This is 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so let's see this 5. Here it is compulsory questions. You can see the area. One question on physical setting, cultural setting, agriculture, regional development, transportation, everything. Paper 1 is everything mixed here. How are geographic factors influencing the distribution of high annual rainfall in certain parts of India? Pretty direct question. If at all you are studying monsoon and rainfall distribution in India, climate of India, so you can easily answer this. Fine. Indian population belongs to large number of races. Discuss the spatial distribution of major races. Okay, so this is easy question, I would say. Those who had prepared cultural setting thoroughly, you can answer them. Different races which are present in India and their origin, how they are distributed. Transitional role of technology in Indian agriculture. Technology in agriculture. Fine, easier. Describe the area specific strategies for the development of drought prone areas in India. Regional development and planning. Relationship between the seaports and regional development in India. Very scoring one. You can bring model here. Okay, so 1 or 2 models you can definitely write here. Compulsory. There is no issue here. There is no scope that it is a bouncer, you cannot answer this. इसको skip करना ही पड़ेगा, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. ये सारा तो answer कर ही सकते हो with a moderate level of preparation. So now we have 3 questions. Industrial waste is diversified. Discuss the potential and challenges associated with it. I don't think anyone would have specifically prepared industrial waste as such. You have to think and write the answer then and there. It is a contemporary issue. In the recent times, there have been few topics related to the industrial waste, solid waste. Okay, so how it is increasing the water pollution, air pollution, you know, in that context. So in that context, you have to make an answer then and there. Industrial waste. Contemporary issues, I would not put this as part of industry because you don't study this as part of industry. Okay, so in industry you will study locational factors, distribution, historical context, that you will study. You will not study as the issues as such in general. How is cultural background of states of India reflected in the attributes of sex and age structure? So totally cultural setting, very clear. Discuss the targets of focused interventions of Jal Shakti Abhiyan, catch the rain. Specific question, though directly from current affairs because they are directly saying what are the targets here. Fine. This is question number 6. Political aspects. India is playing a significant role in the world affairs. Examine the stands taken by India in important global and regional summit. Okay. So totally easy and direct. If at all you have studied some international relations for GS2, you can easily answer this. 73rd Constitution Amendment Acts devolved functions, finances and functionaries for planning of rural areas in India. Discuss the major achievements with example. Direct question, not that difficult. Overall, how the rural local body system over a period of time, how it has been successful, what are the major successes, achievements, you have to write with examples. How do small and fragmented land holdings affects the agroecological systems in rural India? What are the resilient steps needed to overcome this issue? Very good question. Analytical interlinking is required. Agriculture. Okay, so India's role in world affairs. Panchayat Raj. Next, how can morphology of Indian towns be described historically? Discuss the major features of first planned city in India after independence. Okay. Morphology of Indian towns. Okay, this is part of like static part, we can say. In settlement you will directly get this. Health is the outcome of interaction between the physical setting, cultural trait and ecological connection. Explain. Okay, so this can be actually an interlinking of cultural setting, ecological connection, as well as contemporary issues, but I still have put it in cultural setting. What are the major regional rapid transport systems developed in India? How are the urban problems being addressed by them? What is this rapid transport systems? RRTS, Regional Rapid Transport System. What are they? The local transport systems in their local areas, including metros. Okay, so metros and any of these speed railways between the two major cities. Okay, in the local areas. Fine, we'll talk about this. So in these you have to choose. So आपने कौन सा choose किया? This? Okay, good. And then one more you have to choose. 8. No, this is compulsory. Out of these 3 you have to write 2, right? So there you chose one. This one? Okay, fine. So this part, paper 2 part B, the questions become little bit more analytical and current oriented. So choosing the right question is a very important thing here. Try to choose those questions where you know all the 3 questions. Okay, so that is compulsory. Don't choose 2 questions which is very good, you had a very good knowledge. The third one you did not know, you have any idea. So don't go for that. Okay, so that will definitely give you overall less marks than writing all the 3 together. Okay, so but otherwise if you ask me, so this is a good scoring part because you can write very well in this area. There is no shortage of content here. Okay, if you have read some IR related things, you can write here, and this should have been prepared. Okay, so in fact we had a brief doubt clearing session just 2-3 days before the paper, optional paper. So those who are appearing, they only for them we had conducted this. There I had discussed this specifically. Okay, so Panchayat Raj and their implications and the recent case studies I had discussed this specifically. It is a very predicted question. Small land holding, fragmented land holding, again a very important area of Indian agriculture. One of the most important challenge of Indian agriculture is small land holding and the implications of them. And here they are specifically asking the implications in the agroecological systems. Okay, so this is a scoring one. It's a good selection if at all you have chosen this. And other than these 2, or in the paper section, you have to choose one. Okay, so anything, whatever comes to you in terms of attempt as well as in terms of preparation, any other thing is fine. Okay, so there I had given the selection, the most probable, easier selection. Okay, so this analysis is also very important because अभी के लिए ठीक है. So जो लोग next time दे रहे हैं ना, so try to interact with the people who had given this time. ये बहुत ज़रूरी है. इस बार जो पेपर दिए थे उनका स्कोरिंग कैसे आया था, उनका क्वेश्चन सिलेक्शन कैसा था, ये आपको पता करना है. कौन सी क्वेश्चन सेलेक्ट करने से कौन सी इसमें ज़्यादा स्कोरिंग हुआ था. ओके, वहाँ पर ज़्यादा मतलब कैसे वो उनका वो जो चॉइस कैसे काम हुआ है, नहीं काम हुआ, ये पता करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. ट्राई टू टॉक टू द पीपल हु आर गिवन द ऑप्शनल दिस ईयर और लास्ट ईयर. ये समझना ज़रूरी है फॉर नेक्स्ट ईयर. फाइन, because this is something which you cannot do it, you cannot prepare, but in the examination this will come handy, the choice of questions. Fine. So now I have arranged these according to the topics. This is according to the questions. I have given you the overview of the questions. This is according to the topics. In the entire paper I have removed this mapping part. Okay, so other than the mapping part, total 26 questions are there. 2 questions from physical setting, 3 questions from resources. Okay, so I have given the section wise. 2 questions from physical setting, 3 questions from resources, 3 questions from agriculture, only 1 question from industry, that too on tourism. Transportation, communication and trade, again 3 questions. Cultural setting 4 questions. Settlement 2 questions. Regional planning and development 4 questions. Political aspects 2 questions. Contemporary issues 2 questions. Usually this area and this area students neglect. Regional planning, regional development and planning and cultural setting. Usually they think ठीक है काम चला देंगे. Human geography में पढ़ा है काम चला देंगे ऐसे. So please ऐसा मत करो. So you can very clearly see that there is increased weightage. Fine. And as it is more relevant to the current happenings, current issues. So please try to bring the, so the practicality, the practical application and the current related discussion here. That is very much important. The case studies, examples. So there, if you thoroughly target these 2 areas, it becomes very scoring. And since many don't target this, and if you are going to do this, so it will be good for you. Fine. This is the overall weightage. We can very clearly see the weightage of overall observations. I'll tell you beforehand. The weightage of static and conceptual part has decreased a bit, and there's more interlinking and current affairs related questions. Direct current affairs related questions, how many? Okay, so vulture conservation, direct current affairs. Jal Shakti Abhiyan, let me just identify. Vulture conservation, Jal Shakti Abhiyan, direct current affairs. Which one? Indian space policy is not a direct current affairs. Why I tell you? Because the question they are not asking what are the objectives of this policy. They are directly saying it supports the commercial presence. In what ways will it benefit? It's a general question. It is inspired from current affairs but not about current affairs. But here you can see you have to discuss the targets. Fine. That is why I don't put it under current affairs. To some extent, the regional rapid transit systems are from current affairs. Okay, so you have to discuss with examples and case studies the recent regional transport systems. Okay, we got 3, and other than that, nature of glaciers, this is current affairs. Of course, contemporary issues तो obviously current affairs ही होना चाहिए. ये current affairs से inspired होगा. Glacier related questions, industrial based questions. Fine, that is contemporary issues. Yes. Rest everything is something which you have studied as part of geography. Fine. It all depends upon how well you have practiced the answer now. You can see that current affairs questions are little bit less. And direct static questions are also a little bit less. It's more about interlinking the static and current affairs and making the answer then and there. So there comes your answer writing practice. If you have done thorough answer writing practice, okay, so and you have a broad idea of the entire syllabus and all the topics, you will start to interlink the different concepts. Okay, so you will give arguments from various different sections, examples and case studies also. So that will make your answer better. Fine. The overall difficulty is moderate, not a difficult paper. Mapping is slightly difficult. Other than that, the other parts can be easily attempted. Moderate to easy. Scoring depends upon answer writing practice. Okay, scoring depends upon answer writing practice. There are 2-3 current affairs related questions, direct current affairs related questions, but overall still the paper is mix of static and interlinking of concepts. Application oriented. So let's discuss these different questions. I'll just give you the overview of approach. Of course, in the limited time, we'll not be able to discuss the entire answer. I'll give you the approach of each and every question. Okay, so you can also add your points if you think it can be as explained as part of the answer. Let's start from the mapping part. So mapping part देखो. So 10 एंट्रीज इसलिए देता है, इसमें एटलीस्ट 5-6 तो कर लेंगे ऐसे. ओके, सो एटलीस्ट 5-6 कर लिया तो बढ़िया है. दैट इज द टारगेट. एंड इफ यू गेट लेट्स से 7-8 में मिल गया तो खुश रहो, शुड बी वेरी हैप्पी. ऑन एन एवरेज a seriously prepared optional student will be able to answer only 5 to 6. And in that, if at all you have identified it correctly and you have written some significance, you will get full marks. Okay, you identify panna, you describe panna, you will get 2 marks over there. That is why if you attempt 5 to 6, you will get 10. 10 out of 20 is considered to be good. That is why if you attempt 7 to 8, that means you are way ahead. If you are getting 10 out of 10, like you are geography first ranker. Fine. Chalo, let's talk about this. पता है कितना पता है, बताइए देखते हैं. Where is this Lunkar answer? Okay, so make a note of these 10. So I'll just mark it on the map later. These are the 10. Lunkar answer: Goa, Raidak River, Ekta Nagar, Chandanwadi, Babina, Tatipaka, Along Airport, and Karaikal and Panna. इसमें कितना सुना है एटलीस्ट? गुड, 5-6 सुना है तो अच्छा है. पन्ना तो सुना ही होगा. इसमें इजी में मार्क कर देता हूँ. देखो पहले पन्ना तो सुना ही होगा. कराईकल नहीं सुना है क्या? जीएस वाले भी सुना होगा यार. पांडिचेरी का एक है, पांडिचेरी 4 है ना, तो इसमें कराईकल एक है. ततिपाका भी सुना होगा. ततिपाका नहीं सुना. अलोंग एयरपोर्ट भी यस. चलो ठीक है, जो करंट अफेयर्स पढ़ा है, थोड़ा बहुत ज्योग्राफी में पढ़ा है, उनके लिए अलोंग एयरपोर्ट आया होगा. एटलीस्ट इतना तो ततिपाका तो होगा. और एकता नगर स्टैचू ऑफ यूनिटी इज एकता नगर. यूनिटी, एकता, नया वो डिफाइन किया, मतलब वो वहां पर रेलवे स्टेशन भी बना है, इसलिए एकता नगर रेलवे स्टेशन. ठीक है, सो इट्स नॉट इजी. एटलीस्ट 4 तो इजी है. देखो 4 तो इजी है, बाकी सारा मॉडरेट है. अलंग एयरपोर्ट मॉडरेट है थोड़ा बहुत, बाकी आपके लक के ऊपर डिपेंड होगा. गोवा सुना है? बढ़िया है. उस रीजन से है तो सुना होगा. ठीक है. राइडक रिवर, ठीक है, गुड. अच्छा देख लिया, चलो मार्क करते हैं. वेयर इज दिस लुंकार आंसर? राजस्थान, नियर टू बीकानेर. बीकानेर के पास में. सो नाउ मार्क तो कर लिया. 2 मार्क में आधा मार्क मार्किंग के लिए मिल जाएगा आपको. ओके, बाकी आपको डिस्क्राइब करना है. ओके, वी हैव टू डिस्क्राइब. व्हाइल डिस्क्राइबिंग ऑलवेज ट्राई टू कीप 3 पॉइंट्स कॉमन. मिल गया तो ठीक है, नहीं मिला तो छोड़ो. मिल गया तो जो मिला है लिखो. 3 पॉइंट्स. फर्स्ट इज ऑलवेज न्यूज. किसके लिए न्यूज में है? न्यूज पता है तो इमीडिएटली डायरेक्टली वही लिखो. ऑफ कोर्स फर्स्ट आप डिस्क्राइब करोगे कौन सी पार्ट. यहां पर तो मार्क तो कर लिया, वहां पर डिस्क्राइब. व्हाइल डिस्क्राइबिंग फर्स्ट थिंग यू विल मेंशन ओके राजस्थान, नियर टू द वेस्टर्न पार्ट ऑफ राजस्थान. इतना लिख दिया तो काफी है. यू डोंट हैव टू मेंशन बीकानेर, वेस्टर्न पार्ट ऑफ राजस्थान. सेकंड न्यूज. ओके, सो न्यूज हो गया. थर्ड, इट्स फिजिकल ज्योग्राफिकल कंडीशंस. फिजिकल ज्योग्राफी इंक्लूड्स topography, climate, soil. Okay, so any of these, if you get anything, just write that. Okay, so location, the news, physical, environmental. अगर कुछ मिल गया तो वो लिख सकते हो. environmental angle. ये तीनों हमेशा याद रख लो. सॉइल फिजिकल में बिल्कुल लिख सकते हो. फिजिकल कंडीशन डिस्क्राइब करते करते सॉइल लिख सकते हो. When I say physical, it includes topography, soil, natural vegetation, climatic condition, or if there's any drainage system, drainage pattern, so वो सब आ जाएगा फिजिकल में. पर्टिकुलरली बेसिकली हमारा फिजिकल सेटिंग चैप्टर याद रख लो. उसमें जो भी टॉपिक है उसमें जो भी कोरिलेट कर सकते हो उसमें लिखो. सो उसके अलावा सेकंड क्या था? पहले था न्यूज़, सेकंड इज फिजिकल सेटिंग, थर्ड वन इज एनवायरमेंटल एंगल. कोई नेशनल पार्क है, वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी है, कोई स्पेसिफिक टाइप ऑफ वाइल्ड लाइफ वहाँ पर मिलता है, वो लिख सकते हो. अगर एनवायरमेंट रिलेटेड कुछ नहीं मिला, इकोनॉमिक लिख सकते हो. यू कैन राइट इकोनॉमिक एंगल, रिसोर्सेज, इंडस्ट्री, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन. ठीक है. इनमें से जितना भी पॉइंट मिले तो डिस्क्राइब करो. बताइए लंकारेश्वर न्यू क्यों, व्हाई इट वाज इन न्यूज़? Most of them are in news only. That is why it is chosen. Most of them were in news. Lunkareshwar was in news because of two aspects. One is recently it is undergoing subsidence. The land is subsiding over there because of excessive extraction of groundwater. Okay, so there was too much of extraction of groundwater. The land is undergoing slight subsidence. Okay, नीचे जा रहे, धंसते जा रहे. Other than this, recent power projects, particularly solar power projects, उसके कंटेक्स्ट में न्यूज़ में है. बाकी फिजिकल ज्योग्राफी आप डिस्क्राइब कर सकते हो. दिस इज डेजर्ट एरिया, रेनफॉल कम है, वेजिटेशन ज़ेरोफाइटिक वेजिटेशन होगा. ओके, सो एंड इतना काफ़ी. अगर करंट अफेयर्स मिल गया, फिजिकल ज्योग्राफी मिल गया तो काफ़ी है. अननेसेसरीली ज़्यादा पॉइंट्स ऐड करने का ज़रूरी नहीं है. हाँ बताइए, गोवा, वेर इज गोवा? झारखंड. So why is it in news? Mining. This region is known for iron. सिंगबम डिस्ट्रिक्ट के पास में है, आयरन रिजर्व्स. Very rich iron reserves are there, part of Chota Nagpur plateau. Okay, it is in news because of mining. Mining and related issues are there. There are certain recent environmental concerns were also discussed here, highlighted here. तो इसलिए वो न्यूज़ में गोवा माइंस. फाइन. सिंगबम डिस्ट्रिक्ट, झारखंड. अगर सिंगबम याद नहीं है तो एटलीस्ट झारखंड, छोटा नागपुर प्लाटू तो लिख ही सकते हो आप. ओके, आयरन तो बिल्कुल लिखना ही है. आयरन माइनिंग का ही रीजन है. रेडक रिवर, नॉर्थन पार्ट ऑफ वेस्ट बंगाल. ओके, स्पेसिफिकली रिवर है तो रिवर डाल के एक्सप्लेन करना, दिखाना इधर. दिस इज 3 है ना. रिवर देखो, रिवर ऐसे आएगा फिर ऐसे मर्ज होगा. दिस इज द रेडक रिवर. इट मर्जेस विद ब्रह्मपुत्र. इट्स ए ट्रिब्यूटरी ऑफ ब्रह्मपुत्र. फाइन. It is in West Bengal, northern part of West Bengal, a tributary of Brahmaputra, originating directly from Bhutan. From Bhutan, it enters India, then it enters Bangladesh, there it merges with Brahmaputra. बाकी यहाँ पर तो कुछ वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरीज है, नेशनल पार्क है, तो ये सब जो भी याद आए तो लिख सकते हो. अराउंड दैट एरिया ओनली वी हैव बक्सा नेशनल पार्क, राइट, बक्सा टाइगर रिजर्व. दैट इज रेडक रिवर. रिवर का देखो ऐसे बना के दिखाना है. एकता नगर, वेर इज एकता नगर? यहां पर. must have heard about केवड़िया. केवड़िया इज द एक्चुअल लोकेशन जहां पर ये स्टैचू ऑफ यूनिटी बना हुआ है. ओके, सो इट इज जस्ट अलोंग द रिवर ऑफ नर्मदा. On Narmada River, there is Sardar Sarovar Dam here. Okay, so and this dam is constructed inside Gujarat after Narmada enters Gujarat. Okay, so Indira Sagar is here. Sardar Sarovar is here in Gujarat. After once it enters Gujarat, there they have made the dam to use the water for irrigation and drinking purpose. And there, on the downstream, after the dam, okay, dam तो पीछे है, रिजर्वायर पीछे है, डाउनस्ट्रीम में बड़ा सा ऐसे एक अर्लियर एग्जिस्टिंग एक पत्थर जैसे बड़ा सा एक वो था, सो एक स्ट्रक्चर था, उसके ऊपर स्टैचू बना हुआ है. So already a small hill kind of structure which is existing, on that a statue is made. Okay, it's installed. Okay, so and it's a very beautiful statue. I had an opportunity to visit that area. Very beautiful, very big sized. Initially उसका helicopter tour भी था, अभी तो for security और safety उसको बंद कर दिया शायद. But otherwise तो बहुत बढ़िया area है. And after the Statue of Unity is made, this Ekta Nagar was made. उसको रीनेम किया, वहाँ पर लोकल रेलवे स्टेशन भी इस्टेब्लिश हुआ है. वो रेलवे स्टेशन का नाम ही एकता नगर रेलवे स्टेशन. स्टैचू ऑफ यूनिटी. ओके, यूनिटी इज एकता नगर. सो दैट इज द लोकेशन. इफ यू डिस्क्राइब इट एज स्टैचू ऑफ यूनिटी तो आपका मेजर काम तो हो गया. अदरवाइज यू कैन से नर्मदा रिवर है, सरदार सरोवर डैम है ना. सो एंड बिलोंग्स टू गुजरात. गुजरात का टोपोग्राफी तो आपको पता है. सो इट इज जस्ट बिटवीन सतपुरा एंड विंध्या. विंध्या और ऊपर है, इनफैक्ट इट इज जस्ट नेक्स्ट टू सतपुरा. ओके, सो और एक डिटेल चाहिए. सो देयर इज ए वाइल्ड लाइफ सैंक्चुरी ओवर देयर. ओके, सो आई थिंक इट शुड बी शूलपनेश्वर वाइल्ड लाइफ सैंक्चुरी, नॉट श्योर, चेक करना एक बार. ओके, सो देयर इज अ वाइल्ड लाइफ सैंक्चुरी जस्ट नेक्स्ट टू दैट. दैट वाज एकतानगर. व्हाट अबाउट चंदवाड़ी, चंदनवाड़ी? Yes, very good. It is located inside Kashmir Valley. Chandanwadi. Kashmir Valley, we know that it's located in the Himalayan region of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, so within that region there is a broad and wide valley, of high elevated region. In this valley only the Jhelum river meanders. And it comes near to Pahalgam. Must have heard about Pahalgam. Chandanwadi was in news because of Amarnath Yatra. This is considered to be the starting point of Amarnath Yatra. Okay, so यहाँ से होते तो last year कुछ issue हुआ था, and for security purpose, and ये तो news में ही था, right? Babina, totally from current affairs. It's not a very famous one. कहाँ से बबीना? यूपी. Not Madhya Pradesh, it's UP. Yes. अच्छा, वो न्यूज़ में इसलिए था कि वो कंटोनमेंट था. And recently, Defense Ministry denotified nearly 10 cantonments. This was one among them. Usually बहुत rarely ये होता है, cantonment को denotify नहीं करता है. Cantonment comes directly under the army, directly under the Defense Ministry, right? Once they denotify it, it comes into the administration. Recently ये हुआ है क्योंकि वो पुराना colonial time का structure था, establishment था, उसको अभी ज़्यादा use भी नहीं है. उसी एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को डिफेंस मिनिस्ट्री के अंदर रखना या मिलिट्री के आर्मी के अंदर रखना ज़रूरी नहीं, उनके लिए भी काम एक्स्ट्रा होगा और जनरल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के लिए भी ये बर्डन होता है, तो इसलिए डीनोटिफाई कर दिया. फाइन, दैट इज व्हाई इट वाज इन न्यूज़. बबीना, इट्स इन झांसी डिस्ट्रिक्ट, यूपी. अदरवाइज यू कैन डिस्क्राइब इट एज बुंदेलखंड रीजन. उसका टोपोग्राफी पता है, क्लाइमेटिक कंडीशन पता है, ओके, वेजिटेशन भी पता है, वो सब तो एक्स्ट्रा पॉइंट्स ऐड कर सकते हैं. वेयर इज ततिपाका? टुवर्ड्स द साउथ ऑफ विशाखापट्टनम एक्चुअली. ततिपाका along East Godavari district. Okay, so Godavari river, northern part of Andhra Pradesh. Fine. So Godavari river forms this huge delta, and near to that region, East Godavari, West Godavari, two districts are there. East Godavari along the coastal region, and it is the KG Delta Basin region, and there is a huge amount of petroleum and natural gas reserves here. Reliance is doing exploration, ONGC is doing exploration. Recently it is in news. It's because of the increase in the area of exploration. They are planning to increase the area of exploration, that is why it is in news. Tatipaka is a very famous area. You have studied about mineral and energy distribution in India, oil and gas, you should have known this Tatipaka. Along airport, कहाँ पर है? Arunachal. Okay, so with an effort to increase the connectivity with Northeast from the rest of India, recently many of these initiatives have been taken. One of that initiative is the opening of Along Airport for civil. Okay, for civilian use के लिए use open कर दिया था. So that is why it is in news. Along Airport. What about Karaikal? Puducherry is basically composed of 4 territories. Number 1 Puducherry, number 2 Karaikal in Tamil Nadu. 2 locations in Tamil Nadu, one is Puducherry, this is Karaikal. Number 3, what is this? Mahe. Number 4, Yanam. Puducherry, Karaikal, Mahe, Yanam. These are the 4 parts of the Union Territory of Puducherry. They were under the French rule. That is the reason they were made as a Union Territory. Right? Otherwise in Karaikal there is also a port. Karaikal port is there. Fine. And recently they are also planning to expand the port facilities. So that's why it is in news. पन्ना तो हम जानते हैं, ये तो जीएस में भी पूछ सकते हैं. पन्ना recently in news. Why? Location तो ठीक है, this part of northern and northern part of MP. Location तो पता है, news बताइए. Why पन्ना is in news? न्यूज़ लिख दिया तो आपको 2 मार्क्स मिल जाएगा पूरा के पूरा. अदरवाइज तो सब लोग तो लिखेंगे पन्ना टाइगर रिजर्व है, बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व है. न्यूज़ क्या है? केन बेतवा लिंकेज प्रोजेक्ट. Because of the Kane Betwa linkage project, they have constructed a dam, Dhodhan Dam. Because of that dam, a part of Panna Biosphere Reserve is undergoing submergence. A part of Panna Biosphere Reserve, Panna Tiger Reserve, a well-maintained tiger reserve. Okay, it has got CATS recognition. And Panna Biosphere Reserve has got UNESCO MAB recognition, a well-maintained one. And there a part of it is undergoing submergence. Okay, of course, to compensate that only, Madhya Pradesh has declared another tiger reserve. कौन सा? Durgavati? Durgavati, right? Durgavati was MP or UP? तो एक चेक करना है, यहाँ पर एक और टाइगर रिजर्व डिक्लेयर हुआ है. इसको जो सबमर्ज हो रहा है ना, उसको कॉम्पनसेट करने के लिए. फाइन, यही न्यूज था, सबमर्जेंस ऑफ पन्ना बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व. Otherwise, you can write about this. Okay, so dry deciduous forest, mix of moist and dry deciduous forest, and then the Kane River passes through it, and there is a diamond mine, Panna diamond mine. Okay, belong to Vindhyan rock formations. Vindhyan rock formations are known for diamond mining, right? And और क्या है? So वही टाइगर रिजर्व लिखो, मैप के बारे में लिखो, मैन एंड बायोस्फीयर प्रोग्राम, राइट? Any doubts here? Let's discuss the question section wise only so that you get a better idea. Okay, so how the questions have been asked. If you want to know the actual question numbers, I have given the question numbers here, and you can refer to the earlier slides also. In the topic of physical setting, we have two questions. First one was asked in number 1 compulsory, and here the fifth one compulsory. Both are compulsory only. Okay, so there it was first group of compulsory, here it is second group of compulsory. It is good. Physical setting is something which is static and most of us prepare thoroughly, so it is good that it was asked in compulsory. It makes it scoring. अगर कोई randomly उठा के compulsory में डाल दिया तो आपको 10 मार्क चला जाता. ठीक है? Discuss the basis of various explanations for the formation of shivaliks. क्या लिखेंगे इसमें? They are specifically asking about the formation of shivaliks, not the entire Himalayas. Of course, you will start with the entire Himalayas, then you describe mainly the shivalik formation. Fine? It's not like you will discuss only shivalik here. Of course, you will have to discuss the Himalaya in brief in the beginning and then talk about the shivaliks. How the Himalayas were formed. Himalayas were formed as a result of the convergence of Indian continental plate towards the Eurasian continental plate, because of which the Indian plate has underwent partial subduction. This is continental crust, this is continental crust. The earlier oceanic crust which was attached to the Indian continental crust, which was part of the Tethys Sea, will get detached. Once the continent-continent convergence begins, both the continents will get merged together to form a suture zone here. There is a suture zone here. The oceanic part will completely get detached, volcanic eruption stops. The earlier formed, the volcanic features of Tibetan plateau as well as the mountains of China, they are all volcanic in origin. But however, once this happens, once the oceanic crust completely gets detached, there is a partial subduction, suture zone development, magma generation stops. Fine? Very basic introduction. And in the meantime, huge amount of sediments had actually accumulated here. Where? In the Tethys basin. The geosyncline of Tethys had the accumulation of huge amount of sediments. Already on top of this there are mountains, okay, there are Tibetan plateau, all of these were there. But these sediments were totally from the oceanic origin. The Tethys geosyncline had accumulated this much of sediments, right? When these two parts are now trying to compress, now when they try to move towards each other, what happens? These sediments will undergo folding. Is it right? The sediments which are deposited in the Tethys geosyncline over a long period of time undergoes folding. The folding happens in 3 phases. What are the 3 phases? The first phase extended between 120 to 70 million years ago. That started when India got separated from Madagascar and started to move. That time itself the folding started. The second phase, between 30 to 25 million years ago. During the first phase, the folding of the Great Himalaya would happen. The second, the folding of Middle Himalayas would happen. The third comes the Shivaliks. After the second phase, that was extended between only 30 to 25 million years, a short phase, and after that there was a 5 million years of gap. The third phase starts by around 20 million years ago. Now you try to elaborate this part. Because we are talking about Shivaliks, right? By 20 million years ago, already a layer, 2 layers of foldings were there here. One, the foldings of Great Himalaya, second, the foldings of Middle Himalayas. Between 20 to 2 million years ago, the further compression will cause these layers, the leftover layer, to undergo folding. There comes the Shivaliks. But during this entire period of folding, the lesser Himalayas and Great Himalayas were continuously undergoing upliftment only. This is the latest episode, which extended between 20 to 2 million years, and it stopped by around 20 to 2 million years. Can you see there is some more gap here? There the sediments are continuously accumulating even now, and that is where we have the North Indian plains, the Gangetic plains, UP, Bihar, Punjab, Haryana. If the compression continues, even this layer will undergo folding in the future. If it continues. If it stops, only 3 layers. Because this has stopped. This folding has stopped around 2 million years ago. Fine? And this extends all the way from the eastern to westernmost. And along the easternmost, it has got merged with the lesser Himalayas. Lesser Himalayas and Shivaliks are merged together here, but here otherwise it extends all the way from east to west. It will be good if you can draw both the figures. A small part of this showing the extent of Himalayas, in that the Shivaliks part, and another convergent part between the Indian continental crust, Eurasian continental crust, both of them converging in between 3 layers. This is Great Himalayas. This is Middle Himalayas. This is Shivaliks. You have to bring all these concepts, the formation of Tethys geosyncline, sedimentary deposition in Tethys geosyncline. Okay, so by 20 million years ago, there was already upliftment of Middle Himalayas and Shivaliks. Okay, so Indian plate was already near to Eurasian plate. There were many rivers which were originating and flowing from the Great Himalaya, Middle Himalayas already. And these rivers will fill the gap between the Middle Himalayas and the peninsular region. That gap gets filled over a period of time. The sedimentary accumulation happens, the geosyncline gets filled, then it undergoes folding. That resulted in the formation of Shivaliks. In the conclusion, if you can write that this leftover part, it may undergo folding in the future, then it will be good. Okay, so तब क्या होगा? सारा यूपी, बिहार, पंजाब, हरियाणा सारा फोल्ड हो जाएगा. ठीक है? How are geographic factors influencing the distribution of high annual rainfall in certain parts of India? See, various explanations includes, one is related to the formation of geosynclines. Okay, geosynclines and the accumulation of sediments in that. So, other than that, the movement of continent towards the other continent, the plate tectonics is one way. Basically, it's the merging of all. Everything is there. So, you have to bring all the different aspects. One is geosyncline formation, filling of sediments, river bringing the sediments, deposition. Second, the Indian plate moving towards the Eurasian plate, contraction of Tethys Sea. Fine? And there is also, you can also add the things related to the way Indian plate collided with the Eurasian plate. There were two horns, two extended horns. Again, there was a counterclockwise movement of this entire plate. That caused this door shifting, door hinge effect. Okay, so door shutting effect. Because of which you can see the Shivaliks are more merged with the lesser Himalayas along the eastern part, and they are more open and wide in the western part. Okay, you can bring all these aspects. How are geographical factors influencing the distribution of high annual rainfall in certain parts of India? Okay, this is the map of Indian subcontinent. Right? In this, we can very clearly see the different physical features. We have the plateau area, along with that there are certain mountains here. This is the high elevated plateau area, the Deccan plateau area. Along with that there are mountains, Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats, Vindhya, Satpura, I can very clearly see here. And this is the entire part which is Himalayas and Purvanchal, and then the Suleiman range. Okay, there is Hindu Kush here. And in between comes the total alluvial plains. The Indus plain, Gangetic plains and Brahmaputra plains, alluvial plains. And then there is coastal plains, eastern coastal plains, western coastal plains. Broad idea of physical features. Now, how the geographical factors are influencing the distribution of high annual rainfall in certain parts of India. Read the question carefully. They are asking geographical factors, not only the physiographic factors. If at all the question was about physiographic factors, you will discuss only about the landform. When geographical factors are saying, you have to talk about landforms as well as the climate. Okay, so everything you can add, the humidity factor, nearness to the sea, being away from the sea, continentality effect, there are multiple things you can add here. Everything is geographical factors. Now tell me, out of these areas, which regions experience a very high annual range of annual rainfall? Meghalaya, Western Ghats. Is that it? Sojo? some parts. More than that? Is that right? Andaman Nicobar receives a very high amount of rainfall. If you can bring that, evaluator will be happy. Okay, so ये भूलना नहीं. तो वही इसलिए तो important हो जाते हैं. ठीक है? Other than this, you can also say the northeast, they are also good in terms of high annual rainfall. Meghalaya is one of the highest. Northeast is also high. Distribution of high annual rainfall. Okay, so fine. What are the factors? You can discuss separately. Why Meghalaya and Northeast experience high rainfall? One is topography. Okay, so the Bay of Bengal branch, as it comes in this direction, okay, so they enter the plains here and they get bifurcated into two parts. One part moves along the eastern part as Purvaya, another part moves towards the western part as Purvaya, and eastern part in this direction. As it encounters the high elevated plateau regions of Meghalaya, suddenly it gets uplifted, and there are valleys. In these valleys it gets funneled and it rises rapidly, and that causes sudden and heavy rainfall here, the highest in the entire world. Example, Mausinram, Cherrapunji. If you can describe, just write case study, Mausinram. Very briefly describe the physical conditions of Mausinram. Where is Mausinram? Here. Okay, in this part. The valleys are just at right angle position to this branch of the Bay of Bengal monsoon. Okay, Bay of Bengal branch of monsoon. Just at a right angle position. And this region is where the winds rise rapidly. It gets uplifted, gets funneled into the valley and gets uplifted here. Fine. And after that, once it enters to any part of northeast, there wherever it goes, there is always mountain. Everywhere there is orographic rainfall. What are the conditions? Located at right angle to the branch which is coming from the west, and then presence of this orography, mountains here, and then nearness to the sea. Nearness to the sea causes high amount of moisture content in this winds. Fine. And before that, this is totally plain area. Okay, there is no rapid upliftment here. And once it encounters here, there it undergoes upliftment. That is northeast. Western Ghats, very clear and direct. The Bay of Bengal, Arabian Sea branch hits the Western Ghats at right angle, and the western side of Western Ghats is also very steeper than compared to the eastern side. That causes again the rapid upliftment. Okay, so that causes very heavy orographic rainfall again here. Okay, this Arabian Sea branch is very rich in moisture content coming from the Arabian Sea as well as from nearby, near to the equator. Okay, this entire region is known for warm maritime air mass, right? Warm maritime air mass, which is again rich in the moisture content. Now, case study you can say Agumbe, which is called as the Cherrapunji of South India. In Karnataka, there is a place called as Agumbe. So where the annual precipitation reaches 950 millimeters. 950 centimeters. 950 centimeters is near to 1000 as the case of Cherrapunji and Mausinram. Fine. That is located exactly here. At a particular region where again the funneling effect happens and it gets uplifted rapidly, it causes very heavy rainfall. You can talk about the Kerala region also. Okay, so some part of Maharashtra also, Mahabaleshwar, Wayanad. These are the regions which receives very heavy rainfall. And what about here? This is totally the branch which is coming in this direction. In fact, the Andaman Nicobar receives first rainfall before it hits Kerala coast. And the entire branch is totally coming from the ocean. Andaman Nicobar being the mountainous region, there is hilly terrain. Hilly terrain aids upliftment again there also. Okay, this is a volcanic region, right? There is a hilly terrain over there. It causes rapid upliftment, and coming from the ocean, they are very rich in moisture content. The first rainfall in India actually happens in Andaman Nicobar, then comes to Kerala. If June 1st is Kerala, May 25 is Andaman Nicobar. Fine? Resources. Okay, analyze this part also. You can see there is a question, compulsory question in one resource, and there is choice question in 4 as well as choice question in 6. Okay, there is a question in both part A as well as part B. Physical setting is also part A as well as part B. Resources, we have 3 questions. One is related to the vulture. Another water scarcity. Third one about the Jal Shakti Abhiyan. And you can see 2 questions on the water resources. Fine. Water resources is a very important topic. Okay, so every year I keep telling, and UPSC also is asking, even in GS also. I think even in GS paper 1 also there was a question on water resources. Tell me. First one, vulture conservation plan. So this plan was started in the year 2020. In 2020 we started a specific targeted program to conserve the vultures. Okay, so that was the action plan for vulture conservation in India 2020 to 2025. Why this was required? Because the number of vultures, you know about the vultures? What is the ecological significance of vultures? यही लिखना है आपको इंट्रोडक्शन में. इतना प्लान क्यों बनाया है, वो क्यों करना है, सिग्निफिकेंस से शुरू करो. Okay, that gives you the best introduction. Why? Why vultures are important in ecology? Trophic level maintains, then? Yes, they are the scavengers. It maintains the health of the ecosystem. We need a system to remove these dead bodies, you know, otherwise these dead bodies of the animals, they become the feeding grounds for these parasites and various pathogens. Vultures remove that from the system. They are the scavengers. Scavengers play a very important role. However, in the last few decades, the number of vultures have drastically declined. India has lost nearly 90 to 95% of its vulture in the last 20, 30 years only. Fine. So I don't think you guys would have any of these ideas. So in my childhood, I have a very clear idea. Okay, so I was from a small town, and whenever in our town, or it's basically a rural come urban area, whenever there is some animal, some buffalo or some ox is dead, okay, they just put it in the open field, and large number of vultures used to come. Okay, I used to remember, like, large number of them will come, they feed on them and they will leave immediately. I don't remember seeing vultures in the last 20 years. The last time I saw a vulture was in a breeding center only. Jatayu breeding center. Where is it? Near Chandigarh. Okay, so near Chandigarh, on the way to Shimla, so there is a breeding center. One of the very successful breeding center where vulture breeding center is there. Okay, so that was Jatayu Conservation Vulture Breeding Center. Fine. The question is about that only. You have to introduce with the ecological significance why vultures are important. Then you come to the reason why they are declining. Why they are declining? Because of the excessive use of diclofenac. Okay, the entire group is called as NSAID. Okay, I'm not sure about NS. It's about anti-inflammatory drug. Okay, so just check for this. Anti-inflammatory drugs. They're used in cattle. Okay, veterinary use. One of the best example is diclofenac. And because of their extensive use, the vultures have drastically declined. How? If a cattle is undergoing some severe condition, and if this drug is given to the cattle, and if the cattle dies, this drug will not get assimilated in the body. Okay, it will not get removed from the body. Normally what happens if the cattle survives, this drug gets removed. The compounds gets removed. But if it dies, compounds will remain in the body. And if the vultures feed on that, it gets biomagnified in the vulture's body. You know biomagnification? Okay, so where even a small proportion of chemical is there in the lower food chain, as lower trophic level. As it comes to the higher trophic level, their concentration drastically increases. And this, even the small proportion is sufficient to paralyze the entire vulture. It causes paralysis. it impacts the nervous system, it causes neck drooping, it makes it totally difficult to fly, and it dies. The main objective of this is to control the use of NSAIDs. Okay, so diclofenac is banned for cattle usage, however it is allowed for human usage. Diclofenac is a painkiller. Okay, it is used for human consumption. In different composition it is used. What they are doing, they will buy it for human beings, they will feed it to the cattle. It's very effective for cattle. But normal anti-inflammatory drug for cattle is little bit costly. So the farmers usually, the cattle herders, they usually buy it for human usage and they feed it for cattle. To control this, that is the main objective. And second important part of it is the conservation and breeding centers, because that is the question here. All of this is just introduction only. The main part of the question, what is the main part of the question? Conservation and breeding centers are the important components of this action plan. Why? Why there is more focus on conservation and breeding centers here? Because their numbers have drastically declined to such an extent that without the human support, it is difficult to bring them back. The Jatayu Conservation Reserve, conservation of vulture breeding center, is one of the best example which has been running very, very successful. Fine. That was in Pinjore. Okay, I just had an opportunity to visit this. There I saw that there's a very good breeding center, well maintained breeding center actually. It is on the way between Chandigarh to Shimla, en route to Shimla. Fine. Why it is important to have these kind of conservation and breeding centers? Because with the support of them, with the support of the human assisted breeding methods, their numbers have successfully been increasing. One, it gets a protection in this entire area. There is a complete control on the usage of these kind of NSAIDs. Okay, total monitor, total checking is there, and with this breeding methods, they are able to grow well rather than in the open field. There they feed these meats which are free from any of these kind of the anti-inflammatory drugs, and in fact in many places they have also established, not only here, okay, in many places in Haryana, in many places in Karnataka. Karnataka also has some good vulture care centers. Best example is Ramnagar. Ramnagar pata hai? Sholay pata hai? Sholay was shot in Ramnagar only, near to Bangalore, just on the outskirts of Bangalore. Okay, so that area, that hilly terrain which was shown in the movie, right, that is Ramnagar, and that same hilly terrain is a very good nesting site for vultures. Fine. There they have developed this vulture restaurants. Okay, vulture restaurants, they don't serve vulture, of course. They give the meat. They give the meat which is free from these drugs to the vulture. If there is any cattle which has died and they check it, if there is any kind of, if there is no any of these drugs, then only they will serve this meat over there. They just put it in the open and there the vultures will feed on them. Fine. So with that kind of effort, we have seen that their numbers are increasing. Case study is very important here. You have to discuss the case study. Okay, one or two case study would be sufficient. And you can say why it is important. Next, water scarcity is an important cause of disputes and conflicts in India. Suggest the innovative methods for local based solution. Understand the demand of the question. They are not asking why the water scarcity is there. It is just a statement here. Water scarcity is an important cause of disputes and conflicts in India. Full stop. Suggest the innovative methods. The focus is more on innovative methods. Write in brief why the water scarcity is there to a very great extent in India, and the question itself is making a statement saying that it is based on the disputes and conflict. This is one of the reason, one of the main cause of water scarcity in India. Okay, disputes and conflict. You have to discuss the water scarcity in the context of disputes and conflict in the introduction only. The main focus is innovative methods. What innovative methods? In the context of disputes and conflicts. Any major disputes and conflicts? Of course, the most important is Kaveri. There is no other better example than Kaveri. Why? The dispute has resulted in a crisis over there. The main dispute is regarding the water sharing. Okay, so Kaveri is a river which has like exploited 100%. The river water is exploited 100%. If you see, even in the a very good rainy time also, by the time it reaches delta, it is over. Only during the heavy rainfall, flooding time, you will see the river coming into the delta. Otherwise, it becomes very, very small. And it's one of the most densely populated regions of India. One of the most urbanized part of India, Bangalore, Mysore, okay, so as well as Trichy. Okay, this entire belt of Kaveri in Tamil Nadu is one of the most industrialized, and agriculture also very intensive. They grow 3 crops of rice per year. 3 crops of rice. The conditions support it, they grow it. They have been doing this since the time of Cholas. However, in Karnataka, they started later, after the Mysore Wadiyars. Okay, after the time of Vishveshwaraya, when they built the KRS dam in Mysore, Krishnarajasagara dam in Mysore. Then they expanded the irrigation area, then the demand had increased in this part. Okay, this part I am saying. Okay, this was already developed. Now, this area, the demand for irrigation water increased. The urban centers of Bangalore started to demand more water. Now, there is already increased demand here. Now that created scarcity. And there is no very clearly established sharing agreement here. Again, for a long time, till 5-6 years before, there was always, whenever there is a scarcity, both the government used to go to Supreme Court. दोनों बोल रहे थे हमारे लिए पानी कम है, हमारे लिए पानी कम है. दोनों के लिए कम कैसे हो सकता है? क्योंकि रिवर में पानी कम है. And there is a more demand here. Fine? That is the conflict. You have to discuss in the context of disputes and conflicts here. That is one example. Godavari, Krishna River. Godavari sharing dispute between Maharashtra, Karnataka and Telangana, Andhra Pradesh. Krishna River between Maharashtra, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so or in the north it is not that great, but still it is there. Between Punjab, Haryana, Himachal, there is a dispute. You can give various examples. And the water being the state subject is also another reason why they are not able to solve these disputes so easily. And there is a provision in the constitution, any kind of special cases can be taken to Supreme Court directly. Right? Under which provision? Is it 142? What is that provision? 142. Fine. So what is it called? I forgot. Yes. There is in water dispute there is a separate provision. But there it is said that the decision of this tribunal will be final and cannot be questioned in the court. It is there. But still using the special provision of Supreme Court, the state government directly approaches the Supreme Court. Fine. So that is why, even though Kaveri tribunal has given the verdict, both Tamil Nadu and Karnataka used to directly go to Supreme Court. Okay, special case hai, isko sun lo. So they used to listen. And they used to give a specific guidelines. Daily itna cusecs pani chodna hai aapko. It used to give a direction to Karnataka government. Fine. So it's mainly about the way it is sharing. And iske liye solution kya hai? Sharing is never a solution here. You cannot say Karnataka के लिए ज़्यादा ले लो, Tamil Nadu के लिए कम ले लो, Tamil Nadu के लिए ज़्यादा ले लो. That is not at all a solution. Solution is local based, location based. For example, there is a high demand for water in Tamil Nadu because they grow more water intensive crops. The same with Karnataka also. After the construction of KRS dam, so the overall growing of water intensive crops like rice, sugarcane has increased in the southern Karnataka. Mysore, Mandya region, they have been growing a good amount of sugarcane and rice here. We need to shift towards more water economically, so water sustainable crops which are not very water intensive. Second, there is increased demand for Kaveri water from Bangalore because there is a drinking water scarcity. What is the solution? There are so many lakes which are there in Bangalore, all of them were dried up or converted into urban areas, settlements. You please recover them, restore them. The water scarcity reduces over there only. The stress on Kaveri river will decrease. Fine. And come to the delta region of Kaveri, coastal region of Tamil Nadu. There there is a higher demand for water. You can go for desalination plants. These are the local solution. You bring the local solution, the overall stress on the rivers will decrease. It will reduce the water scarcity. That is the idea. I've just explained this with one example. You can use any other example also. Or you can just generally bring the argument, then give the example also. Both are fine. Discuss the targets of focused interventions of Jal Shakti Abhiyan Catch the Rain 2024 in rural and urban areas. Very specific question, current affairs related question. And these are the major targets under the Jal Shakti Abhiyan Catch the Rainwater. The focus areas include watershed development, water conservation and rainwater harvesting, renovation of traditional and other water bodies tanks. Okay, so this is going to be a good example you can use. Okay, how the Kere system in Karnataka can be renovated, or Jhalaras, okay, Tanka or Baoli can be recovered, or traditional water conservation methods like zings in Ladakh. Okay, zing or ice stupa. That is how they used to conserve the water. Traditional methods can be used here. Reuse borewell and recharge structures, intensive afforestation. This will reduce the water runoff, increase the water seepage, right? And then application of space technology, real-time monitoring dashboard, targeted communication campaign. These are the various components of this Jal Shakti Abhiyan. A direct question. In fact, हम भी इसके ऊपर एक इंस्टा में एक छोटा सा पोस्ट भी रिलीज किया था विजन की तरफ से. ओके, तो वहाँ से डायरेक्टली क्वेश्चन आए. देखो, कैच द रेन कैंपेन. You discuss the targets and you bring how it is going to make things better in rural and urban areas both. Agriculture. So as you can see, the questions on agriculture has been asked in both part A as well as part B, and there is one compulsory question on agriculture, okay, where there is no choice for you. Otherwise in part A, so part of question number 2, and part B, part of question number 7, and overall nature of the questions from agriculture in this time has been very pretty direct. There is no bouncers here as such. The question is moderate to easy, and not much of current affairs as such here. Okay, so and it is very scoring in my opinion. The questions on agriculture this year has been very scoring. First one, institutional factors are playing a dominant role in controlling the agriculture prosperity in India. Justify with evidences. A direct question. If you see if you open the syllabus, you go through them detail. Institutional factors are directly over there. And what are the institutional factors here? It's a pretty direct question. Institutional factors playing dominant role in controlling the agriculture prosperity in India. Justify with evidences. Green Revolution is the best example. Okay, what was the role of Green Revolution institutional factors in Green Revolution? What are institutional factors? Like credit, banking, market, government support, MSP, irrigation facility, right? The facility being provided by the government. These are all institutional factors. Okay, subsidy for the fertilizer, subsidy for power. Who gives this? The government. Government is the institution here we are talking about. The overall institution support provided for the growth of agriculture. Fine. We brought through research center, Pusa research center se leke. Okay, that is where we develop the high yielding variety seeds. Right? We can talk about starting from here, Pusa providing HYV seeds. It is because of this only we have high productivity. Fine. And then comes finance. Agriculture was made as part of priority sector lending. The finance was given, loans were given at very cheap rate. Even now, till date, you get lower rate of interest for agriculture loan. Is that right? And then subsidy. Subsidy includes the water subsidy, electricity subsidy, okay, so fertilizer subsidy, without which you think they could have afforded to do this? No. Initially, you need that initial support, right? And then MSP and market support. Otherwise, they would have had doubts. If there is too much of surplus, who will buy this? You say government said, "Hum kharid lenge." You start the production. Okay, so you produce, we will buy it. There is a proper marketing chain, APMC, right? Can bring all of these factors. Irrigation, large-scale hydropower projects developed by the government. It ensured there is a regular supply of water. Fine, the canal irrigation provided by the government. All of these are institutional support only. Or in the present context, also you can discuss. Okay, so how PUSA is trying to bring technology into it. Okay, how government is planning to support the pulse production, oilseeds production, maize production. There is a program, ISOPOM. Okay, so oil palm, oil seeds and pulses and maize. So for that, the government is planning to give encouragement. Okay, you can discuss this. This is a pretty direct question. Second, examine the transitional role of technology on Indian agriculture sector. Transitional role of technology. Role of technology, transitional role of technology. What is the difference? Right? Did you attempt this? Yes, it's a compulsory question. Of course, you can write the role of technology, but if you specify transitional role of technology, it will be much more good, better answer. Any guess? Huh? Okay. जो इश्यूज है एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर में उसको ओवरकम करने में टेक्नोलॉजी का क्या रोल है? टू ट्रांसफॉर्म, टू ट्रांजिट टू ए बेटर थिंग. यस, यू हैव टू डिस्कस दैट. प्रेजेंट मेजर इश्यूज क्या है एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर में? You can discuss in multiple different dimensions. Start from irrigation. How technology will help in overcoming the issues of irrigation? Drone technology or precision agriculture. Providing water as per the requirement of each plant. The water delivery is decided according to the requirement of each plant. Directly delivered to the root. Micro irrigation is also one of this. Right? Micro irrigation, precision agriculture. And then fertilizer. Overuse of fertilizer, excessive use of fertilizer is one thing. Okay, we excessively use urea and few basic one. We don't give importance to the minor nutrients. Right? Precision agriculture again is helpful over there to deliver the nutrients, fertilizer directly to the roots. By assessing the overall availability of these nutrients, you can use technology in terms of soil assessment, soil condition assessment, or even the satellite assessment. Fine. That is related to fertilizer. Other than that, mechanization, the issue of small land holding can be overcome with private investment and introducing large scale mechanization. Where you bring mechanization, the cost decreases and the profit increases. Fine. And then any other components? In terms of the crops which are neglected, for example, pulses, oil seeds, okay, so or even the millets, we need technological support there also, bringing some good variety seeds. Okay, so high yielding variety seeds are required there also. We did not do much in other crops. We just targeted rice and wheat. Do we have high yielding variety in pulses? No. Oil seeds? No. You provide them, the production will rapidly increase there also. We need technology support there also. That will reduce the dependency on imports in case of pulses and oil seeds. Is it right? Some of the crops are still impacted by various pests. For example, pulses in northern plains, northern Ganga plains, they are even now impacted by pod borer pest. That is why overall pulse production in the northern plains has decreased. Fine. You bring technology. Some of the resistant varieties you can bring over there. Through hybrid, I am not saying genetic होना चाहिए. Genetic GM नहीं चाहिए. But hybrid तो आ सकता है. Fine. Another example. Why there is excessive reliance on wheat and rice combination in the northern Ganga plains, particularly Punjab and Haryana? Because seasons match. Okay, everything matches. Seasons match. Government support is also very high for both the crops. Fertile soil, alluvial soil is required. Here it is summer, there it is winter. Okay, alluvial soil, irrigation facility, everything is good. But there is a gap after the wheat and before the rice. Rice is sown in the first or second week of June. Okay, transplantation happens only in the first or second week of June. That is decided by the law. Punjab and Haryana has made it compulsory that nobody should transplant before that. And wheat is harvested very early. There is a gap here. In that gap, they can grow pulse. But pulse is little bit longer. They cannot fit in here. Through technology, if you can bring the short growing pulse, the pulse production will also increase there. Fine. You can bring various aspects here. How do small and fragmented land holdings affect agroecological system in rural India? What are the resilient steps needed to overcome this issue? The issue is mainly about small and fragmented land holding. Introduce your answer with this only. Why do we have more small and fragmented land holdings in India? Because of population, because of inheritance, right? And land is something which is very, very valuable, whether you are going to use it or not. Nobody would want to leave land in India. रखेंगे, unless you have very बहुत ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम आया है तब भी लोग बेचते हैं, अदरवाइज तो लैंड तो रखेंगे लोग जितना भी हो. ओके 1 cent 2 cent, ओके so क्वार्टर एकड़ हाफ एकड़, so लैंड तो होना ही चाहिए. एंड इफ समबडी इज सेइंग दैट मुझे दे दो मैं खेती बाड़ी करूंगा, नहीं मैं नहीं करूंगा पर करने भी नहीं दूंगा, मेरा है वो. फिर उसमें दिक्कत आ जाते तो ग्रेजुअली हमारे हाथ से छूट जाएगा. ओके सो नहीं रख मतलब वापस कब्जा हो जाएगा, हम वहाँ पर नहीं रहते हैं, क्यों रिस्क लेना है, रहने दो, ऐसे ही रख देते हैं. Is it right? Land is very much, sentimentally also we are attached. It's because of inheritance, High population as well as inheritance has made the fragmentation of land. अभी तो ठीक है, थोड़ा सा बर्थ रेट कम हो गया, इनहेरिटेंस का जो डिवीजन जो पहले जितना हो रहा था उतना नहीं हो रहा है. इमेजिन योर पेरेंट्स एंड ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स टाइम. Okay, they used to have like 5 children, 7 children, 10 children. 1 acre of land will be divided into 10 parts. So that is one of the reasons why it has got so much fragmentation. How do fragmentation affect the agroecological system in rural India? थोड़ा सा टेक्निकल है बट अच्छा सा स्कोरिंग होगा अगर एड्रेस कर लिया तो. Agroecological system in rural India. Agroecological system. What do you mean by that? It's not only about the agriculture. You will also see it as a unit of ecology. Land area, you are also seeing it as a unit of ecology also here. Okay, so agriculture system is an ecological system, right? There is soil here, there is microorganisms. Okay, there are crops, there are plants, there is biogeochemical cycle going on here. It is part of the ecology here. How it will impact that agroecological system here? You can discuss both. How small land holding will reduce the agriculture productivity as well as impacts its ecological health. For example, because of small land holding, you cannot use mechanization. You cannot use mechanization. Since you cannot use mechanization, you will go for intensive agriculture practice. Intensive subsistence agriculture practice. What is this? Growing multiple crops in a small patch of land, intensively using labor, manual labor. When you go for intensive agriculture, it will deplete the nutrients faster. You will extract more amount of groundwater, or you will use more surface water. You will use more chemical pesticides, chemical fertilizers regularly in intensive methods. Fine. Land gradually loses its value. Fertility decreases, the groundwater level decreases. That is the ecological system we are talking about. Agroecological system, how it gets impacted. Fine, that is just one example. Any other examples? The type of crops also. Okay, so you cannot have commercial crops in small land holding. Small land holding, you cannot have commercial crops. No commercial crops, less returns, less investment back. The quality of land gets degraded over a period of time. Okay, small land holding, you cannot have much of trees. Agroforestry you cannot do. If there is a bigger land holding, you can also include agroforestry in that. Agroforestry ensures the health of the land is preserved. Nutrient recycling happens. Okay, so water preservation happens. And there is also allelopathy through which you can control the pests and insects. All of these benefits are gone in small land holding. Fine. You bring in all these angles and discuss how it affects the agroecological system in India. What are the resilient steps to needed to overcome this issue. What are they? Cooperative farming. Okay, let's pool the land and do it together. Or private contract farming. Even in that also encourages cooperative farming together. There's a contract, there's a assured returns, let's do it together. Use of technology. Going for sustainable crops rather than intensive crops. Okay, so sustainable use of water, sustainable methods of agriculture, for example, crop rotation, mulching. If you cannot go for pooling, at least in small land holding, because of the present practice, it is intensively removing the nutrients. Okay, so let's say even in small land holding also, what can be done to overcome this issue? Go for sustainable agriculture. Even in small holding also you can do the sustainable agriculture, right? Go for the practices which are local based, indigenous variety of seeds. That will not require too much of water. They are not water intensive. They are not too much of pest vulnerable. That is resilient steps required. You need to bring that connection with examples. In which question? This one? Oh, sorry, wait. This one? How we can tackle this issue? So that is the second part of the question, right? Suggest innovative methods for local based solution. Going for less water intensive crops, rainwater harvesting, restoration of lakes and wetlands so that overall water availability increases. With examples you have to explain. I said you can give the example of Bangalore. Okay, you restore the lakes in Bangalore, the water demand from Kaveri will decrease. Fine, that will reduce the dispute also between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Industrialization, no, industrialization will, see, industry uses less water. The major consumer of water is agriculture. Industrialization will not get impacted because of water as such. Industry depend upon the rivers for releasing the pollutants. In terms of consumption, no. Domestic usage may get impacted. More than in urban areas, more than the industry, it is the domestic usage they are dependent. The first is always agriculture. Nearly 85 to 90% of consumption goes to agriculture only, water. Both groundwater as well as surface water. Then comes either industry or domestic usage. You can give location-based solution, innovative methods for location-based solution. Basically, they are targeting local solutions ही होना चाहिए. Rainwater harvesting, restoration of these traditional methods of water conservation. Okay, so the tank system or step well system, they're all the local methods of conservation. ये बताइए इंडस्ट्री का एक क्वेश्चन कर लेते हैं, then we'll give break. Domestic tourism in India has immense local resource potential. Discuss the reasons and its various dimensions. You will introduce the answer with talking about India's domestic tourism potential. There is a very high potential for domestic tourism in India. Fine. What are the reasons? Discuss the reasons. Why we have very high potential for domestic tourism? Diversity of land. Start from topography. Diversity of land, from mountains to plateaus to plains, okay, caves, Himalayas, forest areas, coastal areas. There's so much of diversity of land here. Fine. And then diversity of climatic condition, from desert to the glaciers. Everything is attractive. Coastal region, forest areas. And then historical context. the historical locations, in terms of art and architectural locations. Okay, so we have so much diversified variety. Okay, so from the Indo Mughal architecture, and before that, the architecture of older times, and the modern architectures. Fine. Other than that, good connectivity is another thing. Okay, so compared to many other developing nations, we have good connectivity. Air connectivity is there, and after in the last 10 years, good development has happened. Udan scheme has brought some more into interior connectivity into the locations inside. Okay, so from northeast to the south, towards the west, towards the north, towards the central, okay, people can very easily travel now. And what are the various dimensions in terms of local resource potential? You can talk about the overall natural heritage, natural locations, cultural heritage locations. Okay, so modern architectures to so even to the development of better transportation links and better facilities in terms of hotels, resorts, government supported. Yes, government supported resorts, they are so well connected. Even ये जो हमारा इंडियन रेलवेज का भी इतना सारा इनिशिएटिव्स है. Okay, so you can give this example of Maharaja Express. Okay, so well maintained and इतना सा अच्छा सा फैसिलिटी देता है तो बहुत अच्छा लगता है. People prefer to travel. And ये सारा जो सर्क्यूट्स बनाया था, रेलवे सर्क्यूट्स बनाया है ना, तो वो भी बहुत यूज हो रहा है. And at the ground level, people are using it. Okay, so because not everyone will travel through air, right? So local tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities, there's more information. They make groups and they travel together now. इस सर्क्यूट में चढ़ जाते हैं तो इंडियन रेलवे दे टेक केयर ऑफ एवरीथिंग. बहुत कॉमन हुआ है. And in the present times, the social media is another major factor, okay, which has spread the information. सबको पता होता है. Okay, traveling has become something which, so not just a hobby, it has become a so as a source of income also. ये जो ब्लॉगर व्लॉगर तो ये तो इतना सारा पैसा कमा रहे हैं इससे खाली ट्रैवल करते हुए, है ना. तो ये सब you can write all of these dimensions. There is a huge local resource potential, and there are people also. The people in the local areas, they are also very much helpful in terms of guides हो गया, in terms of developing and preserving the local traditional methods. Okay, that itself is attraction. There are various such kind of traditional skills which can be, made as part of this domestic tourism itself. Okay, so you can write. So ये बहुत ज़्यादा ऐसे current related नहीं है. So just try to bring all the different dimensions. Why India's domestic tourism has so much of potential, the reasons and its various dimensions. Chalo, let's take a quick break and come back and put this for your reference.
Does the vast syllabus of general studies for the UPSC prelims overwhelm you to initiate your preparation for the civil services examination? Is your apprehension and self-doubt coming in the way of your success in joining the civil services? Comprehend your preparation for UPSC Prelims 2025 with the fast-track course targeting general studies with innovative curriculum, revision and mentorship. Starting from 19th November at 1 p.m., the course offers coverage of UPSC GS Prelims subjects, dedicated mentorship support and guidance for performance maximization, access to PT 365 classes for current affairs preparation, sectional mini tests for regular assessment and performance, personalized student portal to access study material, access to live and online classes. Enroll today and make prelims your stepping stone to proceed to the UPSC mains.
So let's quickly cover the rest of the questions. So transport, communication and trade unit. It's always, so there's more current relevance here, current context here. Less of theoretical aspect here. And in terms of material available for this unit also little bit less. So your notes will come handy here. You need to select the topics, make summary, and make notes of your own. That will be helpful here. Transportation, communication, and trade. And the area is also very, very diverse. Okay, even here you can see there's a question on space policy, seaports, regional rapid transport system, RRTS. So there's one question in part A, two questions in part B, and here there is a compulsory question which you cannot skip. So let's start from here. Indian Space Policy 2023 supports the commercial presence in space. In what ways will it benefit the socio-economic development and security of India? So by reading the question in the first impression, people will think this is a question on Indian Space Policy 2023. Okay, so you don't have to explain in detail what is the policy. They themselves have given. Okay, so it is about the commercial presence in India. In what ways this commercial presence will benefit the socio-economic development and security of India? Is that right? So how the new policy made the doors open for the private as well as for commercialization. Okay, providing services to private and taking services from private, both. But still, the Indian space sector is largely dominated by ISRO, the government agency, right? In that context, how it will benefit the socio-economic development and security of India? Talk about socio-economic development first, then the security. Socio-economic development includes better employment opportunities, better skill development, better research, more privatization, more investment. Elaborate. Fine. Security of India. It is saying benefit. Don't say negative. Commercial करने से, private को allow करने से फिर negative हो जाएगी. ये सब लिखने का जरूरी नहीं है. Just saying how it will benefit the security of India. We'll have more investment, more private participation, better technology. Okay, so better research. That will add on to the security. That will add on to the security, right? So there you have to discuss. So how we can integrate the presence of private as well as so commercial investments into the existing space sector. We can make use of it in defense, surveillance, right? And cyber securities is the future. That is depend upon the space only, right? The communication network is depend upon the space only, right? The future warfare is about the cyber warfare. And having the private participation, having the best of the technologies from the international level is always good for India's security. Can talk about that. This one. Examine the relationship between the seaports and regional development in India. Very good question, very scoring question. Seaports and regional development in India. You can talk about Weber's theory here. Weber's industrial location. Okay, so where there is least cost, where there is better connectivity. Most of the industrial locations are around the seaports. It is Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, whether it is refineries, okay, so or the petrochemical industries or the pharmaceutical industries, which are depends upon the imports. They are all majorly along the coastal regions. What are the industries of India which are depend upon the imports? Fertilizer industry, pharmaceutical industry, okay, so as well as electronic, wafer manufacturing, right? Most of these are depend upon the imports only. Imports, most of these bulk goods come via seaports only, not via flight. There is a high dependency. Industries is one just aspect. Regional development is a much wider area. You can talk about agriculture, how it supports agriculture, how it supports transportation. Okay, it develops a intermodal network of transportation from sea to inland navigation to the roadways, railways, how an area gets connected. It develops a network. And infrastructure facilities in terms of, so cold storage facilities, movement, trade, transportation, whether it is fishing or any kind of seafood. Okay, so all of these Regional development in the surrounding area, they're all depend upon the seaports. Give examples. How Kolkata, Mumbai, Chennai, they are the presidencies from the historical times. Even now, the regional development is much stronger over there. How it supports the regional development, you need to bring that. In terms of industrial development, agricultural development, transportation network, or even the trade, every aspect you can discuss. It's always depend upon the ports. Ports help in that. Major Regional Rapid Transport System, RRTS. What are the major ones which are announced in the recent times or developed in the recent times? See, RRTS, the best example of RRTS is Delhi Meerut RRTS. It's called as RRTS only. Okay, so even though they call it as metro, okay, so that is an example of RRTS. Here you can bring, so here you brought the Weber's theory. Okay, so Weber's theory is about the least cost for industry, right? Here you can talk about the central place theory. Okay, Delhi is the central place with better connectivity, the Meerut. Okay, so Meerut is going to get the better employment opportunity. People from Meerut, they can travel on daily basis now to Delhi. They get better economic opportunity here, better trading facility, better employment here, or sourcing of raw material here. Okay, whether it is agriculture, industry, or service sector, the people of Meerut are going to get benefited here. Delhi is a central place. A central place with a better connectivity will serve the surrounding area better. There comes RRTS. It helps in decongestion. It helps in reducing pollution. Right? It will smoothen the traffic flow. What are the major RRTS? You can include many of these RRTS system. Okay, so Delhi, Noida, so Delhi, Meerut, any of these fast bullet trains. और कौन सा है? Mumbai, Vadodara. Is there bullet train? I think there is a bullet train project which is going on. Okay, so most of the regional transport systems which have been launched in the recent times, you can talk about all of them. How it impacts the urban problems, how urban problems are being addressed by them. Same, decongestion, better urban connectivity, better economic opportunity, right? Better employment opportunities, reduced pollution, then infrastructure. There is a huge pressure on the infrastructure. You can shift a good proportion of population into the surrounding area. Okay, the pressure on the infrastructure will decrease. Fine, it is easier to manage this kind of population. You can bring a total transformation in the urban setup through this regional rapid transport system. Need to elaborate. And ये सब तो मेंशन करना है, तभी तो ये ज्योग्राफी ऑप्शनल का आंसर होगा ना. ये तो जीएस जैसे लगेगा, ये तो जीएस वाले भी लिखेंगे इसको. So this is, of course, you can show, you have to draw the map of India showing the various different ports, major ports, how it has supported the regional development in the surrounding area. For example, Mumbai port, JNPT port together has responsible for the entire growth of this region. Okay, so Mangalore port in this entire coastal region. Okay, so Chennai and Ennore port in this entire region. There's a huge interland connectivity. See, for Bangalore, Chennai is easier than Mangalore. Why? To reach Mangalore, you have to cross the Western Ghats here. Difficult terrain, more time taking, fine, and more rainfall, all these issues are there. Chennai is easily accessible. Now there is Bangalore-Chennai expressway also. The presence of Chennai port is major reason why the industry, sugar industry developed here, cotton textile industry developed here. Whether it is import of machineries, export of the finished products. Kolkata, the same. For jute textile industry. फाइन, मैप के थ्रू बताना ही. कल्चरल सेटिंग देखो, 4 क्वेश्चन मिल गया. एंड Cultural setting is something which people try to write in a very general sense. Please don't do that. If you have बहुत general answer है तो इसको choose ही मत करो. थोड़ा सा specific technicalities लेके आने तभी इसमें scoring होगा. Migration is the reflection of regional disparities. What socio-economic and demographic consequences are experienced at the place of origin and destination? Okay, so first is a statement. You don't have to explain that. You can use it just for introduction. What causes migration? Pull factors and push factors. Okay, when you talk about the regional disparities, mainly it is a push factor. Fine. So there is a backward area, not much of development. There is not much of opportunity. Agriculture system is not well developed. Okay, this is a source. This is the region. This is the origin. This is the destination. People are moving here. Why? This is what is migration. Is that right? The movement of people, the change in the residence is basically called as migration. The migration involves two factors, pull factors, push factors. Fine. I think there was a question on migration in GS1 also. Fine. So pull factor is basically there is attraction here. That is why people are moving here. Push factor, there is some kind of deficit here. There is some kind of problem here. That is why they are moving. When I say migration is a reflection of disparities, regional disparity, there is a huge disparity here. There is more employment opportunities, better education, better infrastructure facilities. It causes migration. Okay, this area is totally neglected. यहाँ पर इतने सारा दिक्कत है. Okay, agriculture productivity नहीं हो रहा है. So there is no irrigation facilities. There is a huge issue of infrastructure here. Roads ठीक नहीं है. So education institutions ठीक नहीं है. तो लोग तो यहाँ पर छोड़ के तो जाएंगे ना. It indicates a regional disparity. Fine. So, what socio-economic and demographic consequences are experienced at the place of origin and destination? ये देखो ये वाला first part को ज़्यादा elaborate करने का ज़रूरी नहीं है. A brief introduction is sufficient. How a regional disparity influences migration. The actual question starts here. What socio-economic and demographic consequences are experienced at the place of origin and destination? बहुत सही तरीके से लिख सकते हो. Okay, first one, socio-economic consequences. Second one, demographic consequences. दोनों अलग अलग कर दिया. फिर इसके अंदर और अलग कर सकते हो. कैसे? Origin, destination. What are the socio-economic consequences in origin and socio-economic consequences in destination? Demographic consequences in origin, demographic consequences in destination. देखो इतने सारे points मिलेगा आपको. बताइए socio-economic consequences in origin क्या है? Shortage of agriculture labor, right? Overall dependency on now it is moving there, moving more towards mechanization. Reduce dependency on manual labor. बहुत जगह में agriculture labor ही नहीं मिल रहा है. बहुत महंगा हो गया. Productivity is decreasing and cost of agriculture production is increasing. Profits will decrease. Fine. Destination में overburden. Overburden on the infrastructure. Overburden on the entire resources availability. Fine. Demographic changes. Sex ratio gets impacted. Okay, usually it is the in rural area, the male population they migrate out. Okay, so the female population they stay back. And age ratio gets impacted. Usually the younger children they all remain there. Okay, so the males, the elder population they migrate out. Okay, so they think it's better to keep them there only. बहुत जगह में यहाँ पर cities में काम करने आता है ना, so labor कंस्ट्रक्शन एक्टिविटीज़ में या एग्रीकल्चर एरियाज में जो काम करने आते हैं उनका फैमिली तो वहीं पे रहता है. बच्चे वहीं पे रहते हैं. उनको लगता है कि वहीं बेटर है. ठीक है. वंस ही रीचेस ए सेटल्ड टू सम एक्सटेंट ही कैन अफोर्ड, देन दे ब्रिंग द फैमिली. फाइन. देयर इज अ डिस्टॉर्शन ऑन एज. देयर इज दिस एज स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द pyramid as well as the sex ratio of the population pyramid. Everything gets impacted. Destination में there also there is high male population. Fine. And most of the urban areas we see youth population. The older age as well as younger age they prefer to remain in the rural areas only. Fine. Literacy rate के ऊपर impact होगा. Okay, so overall population growth rate के ऊपर impact होगा. Urban area, see the urban areas, there is a rapid increase in the growth of population. Population density के ऊपर impact होगा. Highly dense, there the density decreases. All of these ये demographic attributes मतलब आप सब include कर सकते हैं. Population, total population, population density, population distribution. Okay, so age ratio, sex ratio, literacy ratio, सारा aspects को cover कर सकते हैं. Birth rate, death rate, है ना? So everything is part of the population only, right? So सबके ऊपर तो आप एक point लिखो. Indian population belongs to large number of races. Discuss the spatial distribution. Whenever you see spatial distribution, immediately दिमाग में आ जाना चाहिए. Map डाल सकते हो इधर. Draw India map and show the overall distribution. General distribution, of course, अभी तो पूरा mix up हो गया. Metropolitan culture भी आ गया. तो everywhere you will find all the group. What are the major racial groups of India? कौन कौन सा है? बताइए. Yes? What are the major racial groups of India? The first major group, which is the oldest racial group of India? Astroloids. Okay, astroloids were the original inhabitants. It is considered that they were the original inhabitants. As such, there are no original inhabitants as such. Every human being came from Africa only. Fine. So asteroids were there in this part, and then comes the wave of Dravidians. So with the incoming of Dravidians, most of these asteroids get dispersed. Some of them are right now present in Andaman Nicobar, some of the regions of the Western Ghats, a very primitive tribe. Okay, primitive tribes, they are majorly belong to asteroid groups. Fine. And then comes Negroid comes in between. Okay, Negroid comes in between. Majorly Dravidians. Dravidians are said to be from the West Asia, Central Asia, and their initial settlement were here. Okay, so and gradually they shifted towards the south. So presently they are mainly towards the southern parts. Okay, then comes Indo-Aryan. Indo-Aryan, with the development of the Vedic culture, okay, Indo-Aryan population increased here. This is Indo-Aryan. This is Dravidian. This is astroloids. And along the northeast region and the hill states, you will find Mongoloid. Okay, so coming from the eastern part, and in between you will find some influx. Who? Negroid. Okay, there are some Negroid population also. Okay, that is mainly from the sea trade routes and other migratory paths. Okay, so they are located here in between some parts of Western Ghats, some parts of Eastern India. Okay, they will find Negroid population. These are the four major groups. Asteroids, Dravidians, Indo-Aryans, Mongoloids, and then very limited Negroid. How is cultural background of states of India reflected in the attributes of sex and age structure? You can discuss both separately. First talk about age structure, sex structure, and then age structure. Okay, so very clearly a static part of population aspect. Cultural aspect, you will study about this. Okay, because there is a huge disparity in terms of sex ratio between the north and south. Okay, you can give example of north and south, where there is more patriarchy, more dependency on agricultural practices. Okay, so there is a preference for son. Okay, so right now it is decreasing, but earlier it was there. Punjab, Haryana. Okay, there is a stronger patriarchy and the son preference. Okay, the Khap Panchayat, all of these factors are responsible for reduced sex ratio over there. Whereas in southern region, so it was not that strong, the patriarchy. Even the women movement itself is very strong in the southern region. Okay, there is stronger women participation in the normal day-to-day life. So there is higher sex ratio. Example, Kerala. Fine. Or you talk about the tribal regions. In tribal region, there is matriarchy. In many places, there is matriarchy. So there you will again see increase in the sex ratio. Northeast. Okay, so along the northeast, there is a different culture. Okay, so there is a different setting. In some regions, there is increase in the Christianity in the recent times. Okay, that is also has an impact on the sex ratio. Okay, age structure. Again, the divide, the population growth decides the age structure. Where there is high birth rate. Okay, so there is higher younger population. For example, UP Bihar, high birth rate, higher younger population. Okay, where the birth rate has decreased, death rate has also decreased, the older population increases. Kerala. Okay, so southern states, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, there it's almost the saturation level has come. Okay, so replacement level has achieved maybe. We have to wait for the next census. We will get to know. Fine. So you can talk about like this. So even the age structure in northeast region as well as the tribal region. Okay, so north south division. So ये यहाँ पर arguments लेके आ सकते हो. You have to bring in both the sex structure, the cultural background, age structure, and the cultural background. Okay, so in many places there is a higher birth rate and higher death rate also because there is lesser access to health services. Tribal region. Fine, lesser access to health service because overall availability of health service itself is less. So there is more death rate. Okay, so there the older population is less, younger population is more, where there is higher birth rate and higher death rate. Fine. Health is outcome of interaction between the physical setting, cultural trait and ecological connection. आधा आंसर तो यहाँ से यहाँ पर आ जाएगा. Okay, ये तो 6th है, ये 8th है, ठीक है. See. The overall central topic is health. How health is related to physical setting, cultural trait and ecological connection. We can discuss all three separately. And then finally in the conclusion bring all of them together. How physical setting influences the health of population, access to health services. Right? In a mountainous area, difficult terrain, forest area, the health facility will be less. Desert area, fine, whereas a plain area, better connectivity, better health facility, easy movement of people. Coastal area, easy movement of people. Fine. Cultural traits. In some places, there is less literacy rate. Okay, so there is high belief on the, the traditional practices. Of course, traditional practices is also good. But in some cases, there is more of blind belief. Okay, they believe worshipping the god is a solution for various diseases. Okay, worship, practice that also. But we need that medicine required over there. Fine. Physical setting, you can bring the connection with many of these diseases spread by the waterborne diseases. Malaria, dengue. Okay, they are more waterborne diseases related to the physical setting. Fine. Cultural trait. So here you can talk about that. वही है जो जहाँ पर blind belief ज़्यादा होता है. Okay, so where they deny access to the health. Okay, डॉक्टर के पास लेके ही नहीं आते. Snake bite is one of them. Fine. So ऐसे. That is cultural trait. Ecological connection. Traditional practices. Okay, so it is good as well as bad. Okay, where there is more reliance on traditional practices, so there is higher resistance because it becomes part of the lifestyle. Okay, so you depend upon the food more than the medicine. अच्छा से resistance भी होगा, but at the same time critical illness में वो नुकसान हो जाएगा. Fine. Settlement में दो क्वेश्चन आए हैं, both one in part A, part B. You can see. Discuss the process and formation of conurbation in India and describe their problem. पहले बता दो conurbation क्या है, आपका आंसर मिल जाएगा. What is a conurbation? What is a conurbation? A large urban area where multiple metropolitan areas have got connected. Okay, so where multiple metropolitan areas have got connected, that is what is called as conurbation. Now Delhi NCR is going to become one of the largest conurbation of India. At the world level, we have many large scale conurbations. The entire US's eastern coast is line by line their conurbation. Tokyo is a conurbation. Fine. A large well connected urban area with multiple metropolitan areas. So here there is Delhi, there is Gurgaon, there is Faridabad. Okay, so in Mumbai also, like, no, I'm talking about within this region, there are multiple cities. All of them are connected. That is one conurbation. Fine. Discuss the process of formation of conurbation in India and discuss their problems. Why conurbations develop? बहुत सारा arguments है यहाँ पर. Okay, so in terms of better employment opportunity, central place theory लेके आओ. Central place theory says that जो central place जो रहता है ना, तो that always supports the surrounding area, but it grows at a very faster rate. Fine. So better connectivity is there, more employment opportunities, more resource availability, administrative support is also there. Okay, so why the NCR is growing at such a faster rate? What is the reason behind this? Better connectivity. You compare to any other entire area in the entire northern plains, this has connectivity towards Punjab, towards Rajasthan, towards UP, towards the Himachal. Right? Better employment opportunities, better education, healthcare facilities. वो सारा reasons क्या होता है? Why the conurbations grow? Better transportation facilities, rapid transport system भी आ गया. Okay, so after some time this entire Delhi Meerut will get filled with all the small cities, सब grow हो जाएगा, फिर बड़ा सा conurbation होगा. That is how the conurbations grow. Is that clear? How they get connected over a period of time. What are the problems? Problems तो इतना सारे हैं, लिखो. How the morphology of Indian towns be described historically. You can discuss the historical evolution of Indian towns morphology. Okay, एक simple example बताता हूँ, आप इसको elaborate कर सकते हैं. कोई भी major town में जाओ, कोई major city में जाओ, एक जगह रहता है जो पुराना, for example Delhi. There is a old Delhi, पुराना दिल्ली. Okay, if you go there, there are the streets, mohallas named after the historical times. है ना, सो लाल किला वाला स्ट्रीट जाओ, जामा मस्जिद का स्ट्रीट जाओ, वहाँ पर जो आर्किटेक्चर अलग होता है, वहाँ पर जो सेटलमेंट पैटर्न है वो अलग होता है. फाइन. In addition to historically, there would have been some more addition. For example, in addition to that, New Delhi came up. Lutyens Delhi came up, which is little bit planned during the British administration. Colonization के बाद में हुआ था. Fine. And तीसरा आया था after independence. ये सारा जो नगर है, राजेंद्र नगर, पटेल नगर, ओके, ये सारा नगर जो है, ये सारा आफ्टर इंडिपेंडेंस माइग्रेंट पॉपुलेशन को सेटल करने के लिए. हिस्टोरिकल एवोल्यूशन. इन एवरी डिफरेंट स्टेज द डिफरेंट एस्पेक्ट्स गेट एडेड टू द सिटी. दैट इज द मॉर्फोलॉजिकल फॉर्मेशंस, मॉर्फोलॉजिकल चेंजेस. डिस्कस द मेजर फीचर्स ऑफ फर्स्ट प्लान्ड सिटी ऑफ इन इंडिया. हाँ बताइए. चंडीगढ़. व्हाट आर द मेजर फीचर्स ऑफ चंडीगढ़? सेक्टोरल मॉडल. Okay, so it is divided into different sectors and grid pattern. Okay, so every road intersects at right angle. First of all, it is very easy to remember, very easy to access. Second, it reduces the congestion. अब यहाँ से यहाँ पर जाना है तो इतने सारे routes मिल जाएगा, कैसे भी जाओ. Very less congestion. There's more green space. Right? More green space, more number of trees, and the shopping areas, commercial areas are well planned, well established. It provides better access. कुछ जगह में जो एक्चुअल सिटी एरिया एक जगह में रहते हैं, इंडस्ट्रियल हब एक जगह में रहते हैं, एक्सेसिबिलिटी कम रहते हैं, सारा सब लोग वहीं पे जाना चाहते हैं. राइट? सो ट्रैफिक कंजेशन इंक्रीज होगा. यहाँ पर तो ऐसे होता ही नहीं. That is the characteristic of well planned city. And overall buildings, if you see the buildings over there, more preference is given to utility than aesthetics. Okay, and और क्या है जो मॉडर्न आर्किटेक्चर. ओके, रॉक गार्डन, चंडीगढ़ का रॉक गार्डन देखा है. ये सब चीजें इनकॉर्पोरेट किया है. इकोलॉजिकल एंगल भी इनकॉर्पोरेट किया है, इकोनॉमिक एंगल भी. फाइन. एंड यूजेबिलिटी, ये सारा कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स है.
Completing the syllabus without proper knowledge of current affairs will not take you far in the UPSC Civil Services examination. Regulate and transform your preparation with complete coverage of news of relevance. Get a concrete hold of current affairs for UPSC CSE with Vision IAS Monthly Current Affairs Revision Program starting from 20th September at 5 p.m. The program is your guide to get comprehensive news on one platform sourced through relevant resources such as The Hindu, Indian Express, Economic Times, PIB, Yojana and others. Enroll for complete coverage of current affairs including Indian polity and constitution, economy, international relations, and more. Comprehensive assessment of preparation through MCQs and mains-oriented questions. Expert support through personalized mentoring and online doubt resolution.
Regional development and planning. India has wide-ranging regional disparities in economic development. Explain the pattern, implications and challenges. इसके ऊपर ऐसे लिख सकते हो आप. इसमें देखो, 2 क्वेश्चन पार्ट ए में हो गया, 2 क्वेश्चन पार्ट बी में हो गया, एक कंपलसरी भी हो गया. रीजनल प्लानिंग एंड डेवलपमेंट, प्लीज गिव सम इंपॉर्टेंस. एंड ऑल ऑफ देम आर लाइक मोर इन द प्रेजेंट कंटेक्स्ट. ओके, प्रेजेंट कंटेक्स्ट में रिलेवेंट. ऐसे पुराना टाइम का नहीं पूछ रहे. ओके, 5 ईयर प्लानिंग रिलेटेड नहीं पूछ रहे. There are many other topics related to this, but all of these are current context. Wide-ranging regional disparities in economic development. Why? You can talk about agricultural disparity, industrial disparity, transportation में disparity क्यों है? Why there is overall disparities in the growth of different aspects of regional development? उसका pattern क्या है? Implication क्या है? Challenges क्या है? तीनों अलग-अलग करना है. Okay, so pattern of regional disparity, you can talk in terms of agriculture between the north and south, between the green revolution region and the non-green revolution region. Industrial, between the regions of mineral resources and non. Okay, so eastern region में ज़्यादा industries है, western region में ज़्यादा industries नहीं है, interior location में नहीं है, coastal region में ज़्यादा है. Fine. What are the implications? Economic implication, environmental implication, high pollution एक ही जगह में होगा. Fine. And in terms of income disparity also, challenges, all types of challenges. ये तो इसके ऊपर पूरा ऐसे लिख सकते हैं. पूरा regional disparity का topic इसमें आएगा. In spite of various tribal area development programs in India, tribal areas still lag behind. Discuss critically with example. When you say discuss critically, you can include some of the arguments saying that there are few tribal area which are developed. अच्छा सा development भी हुआ है. That is the meaning of discuss critically. There is a statement, they are saying discuss critically. इसका मतलब है ये statement 100% true होने का जरूरी नहीं है. It's not necessary that this has to be true. You can give examples where there is good development in tribal areas also. Okay, so why they still lag behind? Barrier in terms of, in many places it's not only the language, it's the physical setting also, located deep inside. Infrastructure deficit, right? And in terms of security issues, Naxalism, insurgencies in the northeast region. Fine. इतने सारे तो हमने किया है. So in terms of devolution, 74th Amendment Act, sorry, 73rd 74th को हम ट्राइबल को एक्सटेंड किया था ना. पैसा एक्ट लेके आया था, राइट. 73rd को हम एक्सटेंड किया था पैसा के थ्रू, एंड ट्राइबल सब प्लान वाज देयर. फाइन. क्या है प्रधानमंत्री? यस यस यस, इतने सारा किया है. इन स्पाइट ऑफ दैट दे आर लैगिंग बिहाइंड. यू हैव टू टॉक अबाउट द इश्यूज इन द इम्प्लीमेंटेशन. यही है, सिक्योरिटी रिलेटेड इश्यूज हो गया. सो इन टर्म्स ऑफ कनेक्टिविटी ज़्यादा डेवलपमेंट नहीं हुआ है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का ज़्यादा डेवलपमेंट नहीं हुआ है. एंड देन देयर इज कल्चरल एस्पेक्ट ऑल्सो. ओके, सो मेनी ऑफ देम प्रिफर टू फॉलो द सेम मेथड, सेम वेज, है ना. And in many places their displacement is an issue, their illiteracy is an issue. But कुछ जगह में बहुत अच्छे से डेवलपमेंट भी हुआ है. Okay, for example मिजोरम में तो अच्छे से डेवलपमेंट हुआ है. Okay, so insurgency settle हो गया, अच्छे से डेवलपमेंट हुआ है. Okay, so the tribal regions of let's say राजस्थान में भी थोड़ा बहुत they are well off, the tribal community. Fine. So you can give the examples there. Describe the area specific strategies for the development of drought prone areas in India. ये भी जनरल क्वेश्चन है. ओके, आराम से टारगेट करके इसको हम पढ़ सकता था. ड्रॉट एरिया डेवलपमेंट में क्या क्या करना है. watershed management, afforestation, reforestation, rain water harvesting, employment security provide करना है, alternative source of employment रखना है, मनरेगा के थ्रू सपोर्ट दे दो या गवर्नमेंट का सपोर्ट दे दो, ड्रॉट मॉनिटरिंग करो, बहुत सारी चीज़ें लिख सकते हैं. स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड क्वेश्चन है. 73rd Constitution Amendment Act devolved functions, finances and functionaries for planning of rural areas in India. Discuss the major achievements with example. Achievement का ही बात करने और कुछ इश्यू नहीं है यहाँ पर. ये तो खाली स्टेटमेंट है, ये खाली स्टेटमेंट दे दिया, ये बहुत सारा कुछ फंक्शन दे दिया, फाइनेंस भी दे दिया, फंक्शनरी भी दे दिया. मेजर एग्जांपल को डिस्कस कर लो. क्रिटिकली कुछ नहीं दिया है, बस डिस्कस कर लो. एग्जांपल बताओ कहां कहां पर सक्सेस हुआ है. बहुत जगह में सक्सेस हुआ है. Okay, so Rajasthan is example. Okay, so southern states also, they to very great extent they were successful in implementing the Panchayat Raj system. Okay, बहुत पहले से ही था, before 73rd Amendment Act itself it was there. Okay, जहाँ पर women participation अच्छा है, for example Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, where the women participation at the grassroots level is stronger. Their Panchayat Raj system has been much more effective, much more successful. जहाँ पर पेट्रियार्की थोड़ा सा ज्यादा है, यूपी बिहार में पंचायत राज सिस्टम है बट इफेक्टिव नहीं है ना. सो दैट कंपैरिजन. And they were very much successful in ensuring that local resources are not exploited without the due sharing of benefits. Fine. And बहुत सारा जो local resource है उसके लिए सारा तो manage करते हैं, local water bodies है ना, and even the natural vegetation in the surrounding area. Kerala is another good example where Panchayat Raj system has been very much successful. It has resulted in the development of a well-connected self-help group system also. है ना, तो एक अच्छा सा वहाँ पर impetus मिला है. Political aspect तो देखो, ये तो आपको लगता है ज़्यादा current related ही है. North Eastern states of India are geopolitically sensitive and strategically significant. Explain. दोनों अलग अलग aspect है. And you should draw the map of North East India only here. Remember? ओके, so ये सारा प्रैक्टिस कर लो थोड़ा बहुत. This is Northeast India, right? They're geopolitically sensitive. Why? We have China here, Myanmar here, Bangladesh here. भूटान तो ठीक है, हमारा दोस्त है. चिकन कॉरिडोर जो पोलिटिकल सेंसिटिव इसलिए है कि इतने सारे इन्फ्लुएंस भी है, एंड देयर इज आल्सो यू नो हिस्टोरिकल कनेक्शंस, एंड देयर इज लेसर कनेक्टिविटी बिकॉज ऑफ दिस चिकन कॉरिडोर. फाइन. सो इसके वजह से ये सेंसिटिव है, इसलिए जहां पर भी जो भी इंसर्जेंसी मूवमेंट हो जाते हैं इसको टैकल करना थोड़ा सा ट्रिकी हो जाता है. दे गेट मोर सपोर्ट फ्रॉम दिस सराउंडिंग्स countries, right? They are all supported by these other groups in the across the border. Strategically significant भी इसलिए कि उनका overall location. Fine. And it provides connectivity towards Southeast Asia. Our look east policy इसके ऊपर dependent है. Okay, connectivity with China. Okay, to ensure that China's presence is not to a greater extent उसको suppress करना है. We need a strong and resilient northeast region. जब यहाँ पर वीकनेस है तब चाइना थोड़ा बहुत इन्फ्लुएंस दिखाना शुरू हो जाता है. ओके, सो बेस्ट एग्जांपल बताओ. नॉर्थ ईस्ट में बहुत इजीली चाइनीज माल मिल जाता है, बहुत सस्ते में, बहुत बढ़िया क्वालिटी अक्रॉस द बॉर्डर. ओके, तो उसको हम प्रोवाइड नहीं कर पा रहे हैं ना, या महंगा हो रहा है या प्रोवाइड नहीं कर पा रहे, इसलिए तो वहां से आ रहा है ना. India is playing a very significant role in world affairs. Examine the stands taken by India in important global and regional summit. Okay, so you have to talk about major involvement of India in global and regional summit in the context of G20. आप बात कर सकते हो. G20 ले लो या SCO Shanghai Cooperation Organization ले लो या even BRICS summit ले लो. So or even UNFCCC का जो summits ले लो, इसमें how India has been very much instrumental in raising the voice of the global South, right? So how it has been very influential in the recent times. With example आपको explain करना है. Contemporary issues में देखो, variations in the nature of glaciers in India. This is a question related to physical setting, but I have put it here because we don't study there. We're talking about variations in the nature of glaciers in India. We're talking mainly regarding the glaciers of Eastern Himalayas and Western Himalayas. Glaciers और कहाँ हैं इंडिया में? यही दो region है. What is the nature in terms of differences of glaciers between Eastern and Western Himalayas? Altitude. Along the Eastern Himalayas, glaciers are located in a higher altitude because of higher temperature. In the Western Himalayas, glaciers are located in the lower altitude itself because of lower temperature. Fine. And the extent of glaciers, the Western Himalayas are much larger, much bigger than the Eastern Himalayas. Fine. And they are also influenced by the western disturbance. Here there is no such western disturbance here. Here they are mainly fed by the rainwater from the monsoon. Okay, so that rainfall ensures better moisture availability that causes the freezing and glaciers here. Here, there in the western region, so the rainfall from the western disturbance ensures there is better snowfall in the Western Himalayas. तभी तो वहाँ पर ice skating होगा, है ना? तो तभी तो tourism रहेगा. No, glaciers are depend upon the western disturbance over there. Emerging issues in the climate change वही है. Western Himalayas they are melting faster. वहाँ पर ज़्यादा influence है तो climate change का, because they are more located towards the higher altitude and the influence of in terms of weakening of jet streams and drying up of these surrounding regions, है ना? इस बार का वेस्टर्न डिस्टर्बेंस बहुत वीकर था, ज़्यादा कुछ स्नोफॉल हुआ ही नहीं है, पूरा कश्मीर खाली था टिल फर्स्ट वीक ऑफ फेब्रुवरी, स्नोफॉल ही हुआ नहीं था. ओके, एंड देयर ऑल्सो हियर ऑल्सो टेम्परेचर इज हाइंग, देयर ऑल्सो इट इज मेल्टिंग. वहाँ पर मेल्ट होने से और ज़्यादा नुकसान होता है. क्यों? रिवर्स फ्लडिंग ज़्यादा होगा, राइट? एंड हियर there is a greater dependency on the glaciers because there is a huge population of entire northern plains, Punjab, Haryana, UP, Bihar, they are all depend upon the waters from the Western Himalayas glaciers. Industrial waste is diversified. Discuss the potential and challenges associated with that. Diversified statement दे दिया, इसको elaborate करने का बहुत करने का जरूरी नहीं है. You don't have to talk about all the different types of industrial waste here. It's just a statement. यूज इट इन द इंट्रोडक्शन. बहुत अलग अलग तरीके का है, ब्रीफली बता दो. हमारा मेन आंसर होगा पोटेंशियल एंड चैलेंजेस. व्हाट इज द पोटेंशियल एसोसिएटेड विद द इंडस्ट्रियल वेस्ट? ओके, यू कैन टॉक अबाउट ई वेस्ट. ई वेस्ट से इतने सारा पोटेंशियल है, वी कैन यूज इट. 100% रिसाइकल हो सकता है ई वेस्ट में तो. फाइन, रिसाइकल, रीयूज. एंड अदर देन दिस एनर्जी प्रोडक्शन के लिए बहुत सारा इंडस्ट्रियल वेस्ट से एनर्जी, वेस्ट टू एनर्जी कन्वर्जन. फाइन, एंड इन मेनी केसेस the waste of one industry becomes raw material for another industry. Fine. For example, cement industry, slag of iron, steel factory का जो slag होता है ना, तो cement industry के लिए raw material हो जाता है. Petrochemical industry, petroleum refinery से बहुत सारा जो waste निकलता है उसके बहुत सारा chemicals बनता है ना? पोटेंशियल तो बहुत सारा है. In terms of potential, you can just discuss the various ways in which we can use the industrial waste. The challenges, lack of skill set, lack of safety, hazardous, okay, so and pollution in the environment, okay, radioactivity से लेके battery से लेके, है ना? And even the water pollution aspect, industrial discharge, क्योंकि बहुत ज़्यादा monitoring ठीक से नहीं होता है, industrial discharge most of it goes to the rivers. Fine. So and air pollution से लेके, because they don't install much of this safety instruments. ये सारा हो गया पेपर 1, पेपर 2 का क्वेश्चंस. ठीक है, इससे आपको आप ही बता सकते हैं ओवरऑल पेपर 2 कैसा है. व्हाट इज द नेचर ऑफ पेपर 2? Not difficult. You prepare thoroughly, you can easily attempt this. And there is a very high scoring potential if you had prepared specifically. Fine. The takeaway is, please expand your resources. The traditional resources which we are dependent upon for paper 2 is either Khuller or Majid Hussain. For regional planning, we have a book. Okay, Mahesh Chand. Go through that. Just go through this book, but rely more on current affairs. Try to link it with the current affairs. Even this is also majorly it covers the regional, physical setting, agriculture, industries and minerals. But you can see that the nature of the questions have become more applied, more current oriented, even though it is not current affairs directly, but current oriented. Here you need to use some of the other sources. Okay, for example, newspaper is compulsory, there is no alternative to newspaper. To make the best of newspaper, please be thorough with your syllabus. If you are thorough with the syllabus, if you know each and every topic in the syllabus of paper 1, paper 2, you will make use of the newspaper to a better extent. Whenever you see a news, you see whether it can be connected to any topic in the syllabus of geography optional. Fine? And please don't stop reading newspaper. If you will get summary. Summary is just for lazy persons. Okay, so don't read summary. Read summary, but read newspaper and then you read summary. Fine, there is no other alternative. So when you read newspaper, you will assimilate directly. Direct connection hota hai. And Down to Earth magazine is also going to be very helpful. Along with that, you can also refer to Vision IS magazine on environment. We have a separate magazine on environment. Okay, so I think it was Planet Vision. Okay, तो वो डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं, देख सकते हैं. And Yojana and Kurukshetra, it is both are going to be helpful for paper 2, for agriculture, as well as so regional development. Both of them will be helpful. PAB update from Ministry. So of Environment, Earth Science, Agriculture, that is going to be helpful, and annual reports also. Here you may read from various multiple sources, but if you can make brief notes, short notes, and they compile together and keep it along with the class notes, it is going to be helpful. जब भी एक टॉपिक पढ़ते हो एग्रीकल्चर रिलेटेड, लेट्स से यू आर रीडिंग एग्रीकल्चर रिलेटेड और इंडस्ट्री रिलेटेड, सिलिकॉन इंडस्ट्री के बारे में कुछ पढ़ा था, एक आर्टिकल आया था, उसको एक ब्रीफ समरी बना दो, तो इंडस्ट्री के इसमें चिपका दो उसको, ऐसे एडिशन करना है. दैट इज हाउ यू डू द वैल्यू एडिशन. फाइन. चलो, हाउ टू अप्रोच जियोग्राफी तो मैं हमेशा बताता हूँ. Geography is not something which is a very static subject. You need to integrate, you need to practice more, you need to add value in your answers through diagrams, figures, case studies, examples. तब भी तो वो बनेगा. लोग सोचते हैं कि पढ़ने से हो जाएगा. Okay, particularly paper 2 में आपको बहुत मेहनत करना पड़ता है. You have to work on this answer writing practice and analyze it in real world. Okay, so and think of the figures, examples, case studies, flow charts. उसमें काम है, उसी में ही आपको स्कोरिंग होगा. केस स्टडी इज बेसिकली एलॉबरेशन ऑफ एनी एग्जाम्पल. कोई भी छोटा एग्जाम्पल ले लो, उसको एलॉबरेट कर लो, वही हो जाते केस स्टडी. फॉर एग्जाम्पल उस केस में जो रेनफॉल वाले केस में माउसेन राम को थोड़ा सा एलॉबरेट करना है. फाइन. जीएस आंसर में क्या लिखते हैं हम? माउसेन राम हैवी रेनफॉल होगा. यहाँ पर हम लिखेंगे क्यों वहाँ पर हैवी रेनफॉल होता है, व्हाट आर द लोकल फैक्टर्स, वो होता है. बोथ आर सेम, जो भी आपको कंफर्टेबल लगे पढ़ो, बट 100% डिपेंडेंसी तो नहीं है उसके ऊपर. ओके, सो काम तो आपका ही है पेपर 2 में. ठीक है, चलो. या सो मैप लोकेशन, you have to focus more on Indian map location. I suggest so maintain a separate book for map location. एक अलग सा बुक रखो, एक छोटा सा बुक रखो, डायरी टाइप रखो. डिवाइड इनटू डिफरेंट हेडिंग्स. क्वेश्चन तो अलग अलग नहीं आएगा, बट याद रखने के लिए इजी रहेगा. ओके, सो सम ऑफ देम आर रिलेटेड टू फिजिकल फीचर्स, सम ऑफ देम रिलेटेड टू रिवर्स. ओके, सो और एनवायरनमेंट रिलेटेड नेशनल पार्क्स हो गया, या इंडस्ट्री रिलेटेड हो गया, माइनिंग रिलेटेड हो गया, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन रिलेटेड हो गया. ओके, ऐसे अलग अलग हेडिंग कर लो. एक बुक ले लो, उसको 10 पार्ट डिवाइड कर लो. उसमें जब भी एक नया लोकेशन पढ़ते हो, सो जस्ट ऐड इट ओवर देयर. वन जस्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन, एक कहाँ पर हुए, क्यों न्यूज़ में है, ये दोनों इन्फॉर्मेशन आप ऐड कर लो, बाकी सारा आप फिट कर दोगे. ओके, सो इफ यू नो वेयर इज इट लोकेटेड, व्हाई इज इट इन न्यूज़, बाकी सारा खुद ऐड कर लो. यू डोंट हैव टू रिमेंबर एनीथिंग एल्स. इतना ही करो. लोग क्या करते हैं, उसको बहुत डिटेल में रिसर्च करना शुरू कर दे. जब भी नया लोकेशन देख लिया तो उसको रिसर्च करना शुरू कर दे. इतना ज़रूरी नहीं है. इफ़ यू नो वेयर इज इट लोकेटेड, व्हाई इज इट इन न्यूज़, वो काम हो गया. आपको 2 मार्क्स का पक्का है, क्योंकि बाकी इन्फॉर्मेशन आप खुद फिल कर दोगे. ऐसे डेली बेसिस में कवर करना है. whenever you read newspaper, if you see something, and before that try to go through last 10 years of this map locations. उसमें थोड़ा सा ये सेग्रीगेट करके, कैटेगराइज करके थोड़ा सा एनालाइज करो, ये क्यों पूछा था, क्यों न्यूज़ में था. उससे आपको पता चल जाएगा whenever you see a location in the news whether this is possible or not. 10 years में 100 लोकेशन मिलेगा ना आपको. 100 लोकेशन को थरोली रिसर्च करो, थरोली एक बार एनालाइज करो, All the best.